Unmute. Okay, the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. Okay. What the heck is that?
Hi, Vice Mayor
Okay.
Preston. Can you hear me? Vice Mayor Preston, can you hear me?
We briefed you internally. Yeah, Robert and I work together. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Call Heather Montoya.
Vice Mayor Preston, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
Can you hear
perfect.
me?
I can.
Okay. So I'm good right now?
You are good right now. I'm going to mute you until the
Okay.
meeting starts, okay?
Okay, what my picture just went away for whatever the reason was. Completely
I can
away.
see you.
You can see me?
Yep.
Okay, it came back. It came back.
All right, so you're good?
I'm good.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute you until we
Okay.
start, okay?
Okay.
if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to, we haven't started the meeting. I want to practice if you want to speak tonight. So if you could raise your hand now, pretending as if you want to speak.
Okay.
The feature, so that way I can just see it, make sure it works, because I don't want to miss calling on you this evening. Yes, I do. Okay, so it works. So Vice Mayor, whenever you want to speak, if you could just raise your hand just like that, we'll call on you and the clerk will keep me in check to make sure I don't miss you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Are you gonna be able to join us on next Tuesday or next Wednesday?
I'll have to
Tomorrow.
see, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife's going through some stuff right now.
I got you.
I'll see.
Yeah. Eric told me June 10th is what he's looking at.
Yeah, but they just won.
Okay, I have 7 o'clock. Gentlemen, ready? Vice Mayor Preston, you ready? Just thumbs
I-
up. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the May 20th, 2025 regular city commission meeting for the city of Deerfield Beach. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Hudak,
Here.
Commissioner Plaut,
Here.
Commissioner Shinetsky,
Here.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Here.
Mayor Drosky.
Here. We will do the moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. After a brief moment of silence, Commissioner Shinetsky, would you start us with the pledge of allegiance?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're up to approval of the city commission minute.
Motion to approve?
Well, one second, the regular city, you
Oh,
guys
I'm
are,
sorry, you
my
got
guys to the left are anxious tonight, huh? Do you
Yeah.
have some Red Bull before the meeting?
Fired up.
There is a Panthers game tonight, yes. So regular city commission meeting minutes for April 22nd, 2025. Now you can make the motion.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plout, second by Commissioner Shinesky. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Next, we have acknowledgement of the city board minutes, code compliance meeting minutes, March 11 and 28, 2025. Planning and zoning board meeting minutes, April 3rd, 2025. And the African American Heritage Board meeting minutes, April 10, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Vice Mayor Preston, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Again, let the record show unanimous consent. And finally, approval of the agenda, May 20th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Vice Mayor Preston, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show unanimous consent. Madam Clerk, before you start, just want to remind everyone again that if you'd like to speak during the public comment or on any of the items that are on the agenda tonight, it would be appreciated if you fill the comment card with the clerk. That way it has your contact information to give to us. So if we're not able to answer your question tonight, at least we have some way to follow up with you after the meeting to get you the answer that you're looking for. With that, Madam Clerk, the Zoom information for tonight.
For those attending via Zoom online wishing to speak under public comment or in an item that's open for public input, please click raise hand at the bottom under the reactions tab, and your audio will be unmuted when you're recognized by Mayor Drosky. For those attending via Zoom by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and your audio will be unmuted when you're recognized by Mayor Drosky. Please make sure your audio is unmuted on your end by pressing *6. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 1 on our agenda this evening is a proclamation presented to combat anti-Semitism movement in recognition of Jewish American Heritage Month, sponsored by me. Is anyone here this evening? I think they're supposed to. Is anyone here or online for this item tonight?
No, I have to sign it, but I'd like to say something public.
Well, you can still speak when it comes to it. With this respect to the public comment, even if you didn't sign in, you have the opportunity to speak. Just when you sign in, when you fill out your information, it gives us the ability to respond to you better. But everyone will have the opportunity either online or here tonight to speak when we get to the public comment. So don't worry. We'll continue with item number 1. If they show up, all the better. But since their arrival on American shores as early as the 16th century, Jewish immigrants and their descendants have played a vital role in shaping the United States, contributing to the nation's creation, growth, freedom, prosperity, and enduring strength. Jewish Americans have made profound and lasting contributions to every aspect of American life, including the arts, sciences, business, law, education, public service, entertainment, and culinary traditions, enriching the cultural fabric of our nation and helping define what it means to be American. Let this month serve as a time to reflect, learn, and celebrate the resilience, creativity, and enduring contributions of Jewish Americans throughout our history. Now, therefore, I, Todd Drosky, Mayor of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Jewish American Heritage Month. Madam Clerk, if anyone appears during the meeting, if you'd let me know, please, I'll just set this to the side. I think this has even more profound significance given going on what's in the Middle East these days. Number 2 on our agenda this evening is a certificate of recognition presented to Anthony Callie for his life-saving efforts. Is Mr. Callie here this evening? Not yet. Oh, he is in the back. Okay, you can come down and get your certificate in a minute. Let me just finish and then we'll bring you down. On Friday, April 18th, am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Callie? On Friday, April 18th, Anthony Callie responded from Lifeguard Tower 7 on his rescue board to a boat that capsized and had the captain in the water hanging onto the motor to stay afloat in the rough seas. Mr. Callie secured the captain on his rescue board and brought him to safety before other emergency response watercrafts arrived on scene. What could have easily turned into a tragedy was averted thanks to Mr. Callie's quick thinking, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to public safety. Mr. Callie's decisive actions, securing the individual onto his rescue board and guiding him safely back to shore even before emergency vessels arrived, are a powerful testament to the kind of lifeguard and public servant he is. His courage and skill reflect the highest standards of the Office of Public Safety, and we want you to know how much your efforts are valued and appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Callie. And I see your chief is here as well. Would you like to come down now? We have a certificate for you. And Chief, would you like to say anything first?
Mayor, commissioners, thank you. I'll be really quick. Anthony Callie is probably one of the most respected watermen in this country. His demeanor, as you can see, is very calm, but he responds professionally and gets the job done. Any tower we sit him on, we feel very confident that the public is always safe. So I can't commend him enough. He responded that day when every agency you can imagine was called to the scene. He was already out there, had the victim secured on his board, brought him in to shore. We anchored the boat. We had everything set up before anybody else arrived. And that's a testament to him seeing it happen in real time and responding rapidly. So thank you, Anthony. Great job.
I think this is really important for one of our own. So in presenting the certificate, if the entire commission could come down and we'll take a group photo with Mr. Callie.
Baby on the way with
Item number 3 on our agenda tonight, certificate of recognition presented by Captain Hofstein to BSO law enforcement staff. Captain, come on down.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor up on the screen. Good evening, sir. Commissioners, Mr. City Manager. Come on in, guys. Don't be shy. You know where to line up. They are rather shy. It's a rare treat getting this crew here in their Class A uniforms because these are members of our elite crime suppression team. So often they're out there in their tactical gear, lurking in the shadows. So to get them like this, all dressed up and spiffy, it's a rare occasion. Although this is not their first time here. I know a couple of them, if all of them are repeat customers, and a couple of them, this is going on 3 times as a charm. And that's because of the unbelievable performance that they continue to do in the line of duty here in the city of Deerfield Beach. These gentlemen, to put it simply, they are the trapdoor spiders of this city. Criminals come in, this is what they have to contend with. They go after the worst of the worst when they do come visit us, and they do occasionally. And they've removed, as I've highlighted over the years and had the pleasure and honor to do, well over 100 firearms, well over close to 100 of our most violent criminals and documented gang members. And this is over the span of years, not to panic you. This didn't happen in just 1 month. But over the span of the years, this is the type of work they've done. And as I always like to highlight, they've taken enough lethal doses of fentanyl off our streets to sadly overdose the entire population of this city 3 times over. So that's just one indication of what they do every day. I'm here specifically for something that actually happened back in April. As you probably are aware of in media coverage, threats, our management of threats, if you will, is a very, very serious business. And it can be a very convoluted and very challenging type of investigation to deal with, whether it's written or spoken threats. But we know there's an underlying true threat to somebody's safety. And this is just a great example of how we deal with it here in Deerfield Beach, and how we deal with it so efficiently and promptly, and the teamwork that goes behind it. So on April, our crime suppression team was notified by patrol regarding a call for service, that's a call to dispatch, regarding written threats to kill an individual. The responding deputy obtained a sworn tape statement from the victim and established probable cause for the arrest of the suspect. And I'm reading this verbatim. I don't get credit for the creative writing here. It's so well written, I'm going to read it as is. A background check revealed that the suspect had a lengthy criminal history with 26 prior arrests in Broward County alone. You can only imagine elsewhere, and confirmed his status as a convicted and violent felon. Given the credible and imminent threat to the victim's life, time was of the essence. Working quickly and collaboratively, the CST detectives and the deputy combined their investigative efforts to identify a possible location for the suspect in Pompano Beach. Due to the serious nature of the threat and the suspect's violent history, the coordinated teamwork of all involved, the suspect was successfully located and taken into custody within 1 hour of the initial notification. The arrest was conducted without incident, which in and of itself can be a feat, demonstrating not only efficiency, but professionalism and sound tactical execution. Upon notification of the arrest, the detective sergeant sent out a detective to conduct a suspect interview. During that interview, Detective Peterson, who unfortunately cannot join us tonight, also demonstrated outstanding interview and interrogation skills, which led to the suspect admitting to the charges and fully solidifying the case. This operation highlights the excellent communication, investigative skill, and swift response of all involved, because it really does take the teamwork. Soup to nuts here, from patrol to the crime suppression team to our detective bureau. And their actions directly contributed to the prevention of a potentially violent act and safeguarded the life of the victim and resulted in the apprehension of a dangerous felon, again, within 1 hour of being notified. Their professionalism, teamwork, and dedication to public safety reflect great credit upon themselves, our district, our city, and our agency. And for this, I congratulate them for being nominated and selected as our Detectives of the Month once again. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to call him out. The creative writing is credited to this man who was actually acting supervisor that day and also a future supervisor. And I typed with one finger. I typed with one finger, so very well done. Thank you, folks.
Excuse me, item number 4 this evening is a proclamation presented to the Office of the City Clerk in recognition of Professional Municipal Clerks Week. I told the clerk I would not embarrass her tonight. But just listen to this and figure out who wrote it, me versus her. The Office of the Municipal Clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government that exists throughout the world. The Office of the Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. Municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. The municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Now, therefore, I, Todd Drosky, Mayor of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 4th through 10th, 2025 as Municipal Clerks Week. I don't think she's going to speak, so we'll just go into item number 5. Certificate of recognition presented to the Blanche Ely class of 1965. If you want to just line up where Mr. Hunt is on the side, I'll read this and then we'll give you the certificate here. Tonight, it is my great privilege to honor a legacy that helped shape the very soul of Deerfield Beach. This Blanche Ely class of 1965 began their journey at Braithwaite Elementary, a cornerstone of learning during segregation, a time that tested not just minds, but hearts. Despite facing barriers and opposition, they rose with grace, dignity, and determination, continuing their education at Blanche Ely High School, since there was no Deerfield Beach High School at the time. Their story is our city's story, one of courage, perseverance, and pride. As mayor of this great city, it is my profound honor to recognize the class of 1965 for laying the foundation we continue to build upon today. Your unity and achievements during such a pivotal time helped transform Deerfield Beach into a more inclusive and hopeful community. On behalf of a grateful city, thank you for being living proof that strength, progress, and resilience come from standing together. Commission? We'll go into the presentations. Item number 6, a presentation by the Florida Department of Transportation regarding upcoming improvements to the Southwest 10th Street Connector Project. Mr. City Manager, is Mr. Boston going to start from the FDOT?
Yeah, you can start. Yes, sir. He's going to start from the podium.
Okay, thank you.
Those were very tough acts to follow. So it's, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Robert Boston with Florida Department of Transportation. Just want to thank you for the opportunity tonight to kind of give you a little overview and update to the Southwest 10th Street project. Okay. First, I want to start off with our FDOT Compass. So really, it's a tool we use to kind of for help us to develop our projects as we move forward and capture all the important aspects and the key issues. So at the top of our compass is safety. Safety is paramount to us. It's very important that we build in as much safety to all of our projects. Resiliency, very important as far as what we build with our infrastructure, that it's to last, that it's sustainable, whether it's the bridges, the foundations, the roadway bed itself. And in this case, we have the opportunity, we're doing a lot of utility relocations, a lot for the city, and we're going to have new utility infrastructures throughout the corridor. So that should be long and sustaining. Robust supply chain, and again, very important, especially along this corridor. We have the Publix Distribution Center, Whitewater's Business Center, Parks. So what we're able to accomplish here as far as moving traffic in a safe manner and efficient manner, it's really going to help the supply chain throughout the corridor. Technology, we like to build technology into everything we do. We'll get into some slides. There's some aspects of it I'll touch on there. We're bringing in kind of latest technology to help traffic move and operate both during and after the construction. Workforce development, a project of this size, we're bringing in a lot of people, a lot of opportunities to develop a workforce within the design and construction community, and also bring in opportunities for those that want to work on these projects as well. And at the center of our compass is communities. So it's obviously very important to us in a project like this that can be impactful, working with the community as much as we can and as much as we have helps us to build a better project. As many of you know, this project goes back many years. We've had the opportunity to have significant input with communities and the city staff. And I know that's made this project a better project. And as we get through the project, we just want it to be the best it can be. And we plan on doing that by continuing our work with the communities and the city to address the issues that could develop. Okay. Southwest 10th Street Corridor Project is also a Moving Florida Forward project. And Moving Florida Forward, it's an infrastructure initiative, basically spearheaded by Governor DeSantis. It encompasses 20 regional type projects throughout the state of Florida. On the map that you're seeing, the Southwest 10th Street is highlighted in yellow. Overall, this infrastructure initiative brings $4 billion to new development to increase safety, reduce congestion, and improve economic development throughout the corridors that these projects exist. Now, most of you, this is a location map. I'm sure the location of the project is very well known, but I'd like to point out a few things. If you look at the left map, it kind of depicts the regional highway network with the Sawgrass Expressway, the Florida's Turnpike, I-95, 595, all coming together for a regional highway system to work efficiently. One thing it is highlighted here is this missing link on Southwest 10th Street. And this project will help fulfill that by closing that link within the highway corridor, the highway network corridor. The map on the right basically drills down on the project location. It shows in red the Southwest 10th Street where the project goes from the Turnpike east to east of I-95. So it's about 3 miles approximately. And along I-95 from just north of Sample Road to north of Hillsborough Boulevard, we're basically going to be improving I-95. We're going to be reconstructing the interchanges at Southwest 10th Street as well as Hillsborough Boulevard. And we're going to be implementing a second express lane between that corridor, where now there's only one express lane, both northbound and southbound. We'll be adding in a second lane for the express movement. Okay. I've got a couple renderings here just to give you a flavor for the project. This is near the center of the corridor with Century Village on your right, Waterford Homes on the left. This is obviously looking to the west. And what this shows is a separation between the connector lanes and the local lanes. The connector lanes are going to be limited access facility with 60 miles per hour posted speed limit, whereas the local lanes will be a 35 miles per hour posted speed limit, and also include amenities such as what's shown on the left is the 12-foot wide shared use path. The current access to all the businesses and the residents along Southwest 10th Street will be remained and will be maintained throughout construction as well as throughout the completion of the project. Okay, my next rendering is just on the east side of I-95. It's looking down the corridor for Southwest 10th Street. It shows the new direct connect ramps leading from the connector road to I-95. Those ramps will allow traffic on the connector to connect with I-95 to the general purpose as well as the express lanes. The local Southwest 10th Street will also have connections to I-95 as they do today. Okay. Third rendering I have is basically at the west end of the project, coming from the Sawgrass Expressway. As you come out of the Sawgrass Expressway heading west, this depiction shows the decision point between vehicles taking the connector road to the east or the local road. Also shown here in the foreground is the new ramp bridge, which brings the westbound local Southwest 10th traffic over the connector lanes and allows them to either access Lyons Road or the Sawgrass Expressway. Just to give you a little bit of timeline for the project, and I've picked out a few major milestones here. We had been in the PD&E and in preliminary design for a number of years. Back in February of 2024, we did advertise this as a phased design build project. Phased design build is an alternative contracting technique, which puts us in a position where we can collaborate with the design and the contractor team. It helps us to reduce the overall timeline and reduce the cost of the project. We did execute 2 contracts. The first one was just a couple months ago in March. We hired our first contractor, and then in April, we executed a contract with our second contractor. We have split this project into 2 contracting mechanisms. and that will give us a good opportunity to bring additional resources to complete the project timely. We do anticipate beginning construction in 2026, and it'll be approximately 7 years from now, or we're looking at approximately 2032 as far for the conclusion and the completion of the construction. We are now, if you look at the chart below, we're now in what we call the planning phase, and we'll be in the planning phase till the end of this year. And we'll be collaborating with the contractor and the designers and moving the project forward. We'll also be developing a master schedule, which will lay out the construction stages, the construction timeline of the project as a whole. So once that's complete later this fall, we'll certainly be back and sharing that with the city and the public as well. Okay. One of the features we're adding along the project are noise barrier walls. Along Southwest 10th Street, we're going to be adding walls along basically the waterways, Independence Bay, Waterford Courtyards, Waterford Homes, and then Century Village. So we have an opportunity to do some early works related to sound walls, particularly on the Waterford Courtyards and the Waterford Homes, possibly on the Century Village as well. So as we get a little further along, our intention is to build those as soon as possible, so that benefit to the residents will be sooner in the construction time rather than later. Along I-95, I've got shown here in the red, there's 3 areas of sound walls, which are going to be impacted by the construction. Those sound walls will be reconstructed, so will be put back to provide that sound abatement to the residents. Okay. As part of the project, we're also improving a number of local roads within Deerfield Beach. On this basically little chart kind of shows you highlighted in like the blue, heavy blue line, the roadway systems. So along Military Trail, we're adding bike lanes and sidewalk. Newport Center Drive and Southwest 12th Avenue, we're reconstructing those roadways. We are widening the FAU Research Park Boulevard, and we intend on replacing the Northeast 48th Street Bridge. Okay, I mentioned technology earlier on. We are planning to implement a smart roads work zone. What's shown here in this diagram or this map, highlighted in the kind of the light red or the off, is the corridor area, which the roads, the major arterials through that area, we're going to basically work with those to implement technologies which allows us to monitor the traffic and provide real-time feedback to drivers of what's maybe happening along it, whether it's some extra congestion or if there's some construction activities that are going on. So the roads include US 1, Dixie Highway, US 441, Powerline Road, Hillsborough Boulevard, and Sample Road. So some of the technologies that we're going to be adding will be the overhead message signs, as you see kind of at the top right of the diagram. We're also going to be adding cameras along the corridor, vehicle monitoring devices to help with the speed and help with the speed and monitoring the position of the vehicles as far as the congestion that occurs. And then we're going to be constructing fiber throughout the corridor, connecting the signal system. Okay. Communities, as I talked about, is very important. A little over two and a half years ago, so we've held a charrette with the community and the city. And through that, we've come up with an aesthetics plan to really enhance this corridor. Those kind of features, we're going to include retaining walls, noise barrier walls, bridge structures, bridge piers, and bridge beams as well. So we're looking at a sawgrass to seagrass approach. We've got color palettes that we're going to be including and a follow-on landscaping project to help make this community a more beautiful and pleasant place to pass through, whether you're walking or driving. Including here, I'd mentioned before, but the 12-foot wide shared use path, and also additional landscaping that's going to go on the south side of Southwest 10th Street. Okay. I'm here tonight as part of the kickoff to our community outreach plan. Over probably the last year or so, we haven't done a lot of outreach because we are in our procurement process for our contract team. But now we want to reach back out to the city and also the city, the county, and adjacent cities. And most importantly, the community groups, the businesses. And we plan on picking that up this spring and into the spring and into the summer and into the fall. We do anticipate having a public meeting probably late this year or early next year. Okay. Kind of to wrap things up, I just want to kind of mention that we do have an ongoing 2055 Florida Transportation Plan that's being developed. It's a plan that it's updated every 5 years, and it provides a guidance for Florida's transportation future. The Department of Transportation utilizes this to help our work program in looking into funding projects in the future that are needed. So we do reach out and offer the public to be engaged. So there's a website, it's floridaftp.com. So we welcome you and ask you if you want to go on to the website, learn a bit more about it, and open to make comments either locally or even regionally. And just to close, I've got the contacts of myself. We've expanded our team a bit now that we're kind of in the construction mode. We have Mark Mosier with our construction team, Vanita Sani on the design side, and Daniela Silva is our construction phased community outreach lead. So one other thing I probably mentioned is today we were actually able to just launch a redesigned website. So if you get an opportunity to go on it, the website is listed here. It can also be accessed by just southwest10street.com. So that's all I have for it. I appreciate the opportunity. And if there are any questions, certainly ready to field those.
I'll jump in. I don't see any lights lit up first, so I'll jump in. So this project, Mr. Boston, you know, we have a long history on this. So before I was ever elected, myself and Mayor Gans, we were on the COAT committee. So those that don't know, there was a committee of 18 individuals, 9 from Deerfield Beach, 9 from the surrounding communities that met starting probably about the 2013-14, I believe, timeframe. So I've had over a decade of my life invested in this project. And that COAT committee met together to kind of put, you know, if this project were to ever happen, and here we are, you know, what would Southwest 10th Street look like? And we had some pretty fierce battles during those discussions. I don't think you were involved during the COAT committee days, or maybe towards the end of it. But we have come a long way since then, and we're getting to the construction part of this. And I thank you for working with our staff, you know, to incorporating some of our solid grass to seagrass components to it and some of the other aspects to it. I would implore you to please continue working with our staff. I know there's continuing details as you get closer to the construction phase that need to be worked out. So continue to work with our staff. I like the additional technology that you've added. I know some of it is AI oriented and will help drivers determine when to be on 10th Street and when not to be on 10th Street. And one of the questions that I frequently get about 10th Street is the noise walls. Will the noise walls go in before construction? And I say yes, that was part of your presentation tonight. Will tonight's presentation be on your website?
Yeah, we'll put it on our website. But I
Okay.
do want to clarify, you know, construction has actually been going on with the movement of utilities, especially the Florida Light and Power poles. So that's going to continue. We are going to be doing some early construction work as far as clearing and things like that before the noise walls. There is some work that will have to be due to allow the noise walls to be built and put in place. For instance, on Century Village, because of the current Southwest 10th Street is so close to the right-of-way, we're going to have to be able to make some changes to the roadway to allow the contractor to get in there and build the wall. So there is going to be work that happens before the noise walls can be in place, but it is important to us, and we're going to get those built as early as possible.
Right. So, there has been construction going on, the utility relocation. So I don't want to imply that there hasn't been any construction going on, because there certainly has been. but like the construction, like the real construction, what people think is like, you know, the big equipment that is out there, that's coming. So, so when I say construction, that's really what I meant was like
Yeah.
the big heavy construction that's coming. There has been some light construction out there. Most people may or may not even recognize it as they go up and down 10th Street in their daily travels. The one thing that I want to press upon you, and you've been very good about it before, and please continue it, and it was part of your presentation, is please continue to communicate with the residents and the communities and the HOAs regarding this effort. Now that we're getting into the part of the construction that the residents are actually going to see and feel, I think your community outreach has to be better than it ever has been. So please, you know, buffer that team as best you can, add, you know, staff to it, and get out into the communities and really have leadership, you know, reach out to the community so they know what to expect and what's coming. If the residents know what's coming and when and how, I think it'll soften the blow of this particular project. If all of a sudden they start seeing big, heavy machines and equipment, that's when all the questions are going to start coming up. So please, to the best of your ability, you know, have your good public outreach team. I wouldn't wait to the fall necessarily. I mean, I would start even now going into Century Village and the waterways and Independence Bay and Waterford Homes, and letting them know what is coming. The presentation that you gave us tonight, say, hey, folks, this is what's coming. This is what you can expect, just so they know the timeline that's coming as well. Because just because they don't see anything, because it's been a while, I don't want them to think that nothing is going on, because certainly there's a lot going on. But I want them to know what's going to be coming down the pike, so to speak. So I think it's important to continue to reach out. So whatever you can do to buffer your outreach staff, I think would be extremely helpful going forward.
And we certainly will do that. Thank you.
Okay, I see Vice Mayor Preston has his hand raised. So we will start with him.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Bork, thank you so much for the presentation and what you've just shared with us. I must say that there is, I would say, a flavor of community in these presentations as they are presented to us. But I will say that I believe that FDOT must challenge itself to know that a project of this size, which is massive, it's going to, you know, not just come to the city of Deerfield, but to the residents. And so in many ways, it's very invasive. And so FDOT must challenge itself to figure out what issues might come up. What might happen here that we don't see that may not be particularly embraced by a residential community that's very close to this infrastructure. But I really feel confident that you guys are thinking about this. And so it's important that you challenge yourself to even go far beyond what is on paper, to anticipate what might happen as this is going forward. Did we overlook a particular, a particular item or something that maybe a little bit more invasive in the community than we anticipated? And if that is the case, how do we fix it? So it really boils down to community, community, community. And if you do that, I think that the residents of Deerfield Beach will embrace this, a lot more, and understanding the significance and understanding how it actually in the long run will be a benefit. But I'm very happy that every time a presentation comes up, it doesn't seem to me, at least, that you're not listening, and that is important. So thank you very much for that. And please challenge yourself to say, how do we transition this so that the adjoining communities may embrace this? Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Plow?
Thank you, Mr. Boston. Great presentation. I'm Tom Plout, Commissioner for the south side of 10th Street. And being a newly elected commissioner, I had the pleasure to walk every single house in my district. It took me 2 months, over 4,000 places I stopped, and particularly in the Waterford and around that area. That was their main concern. They wanted to know what I was going to do about it. There's nothing that I can do about it except to make sure that it goes smoothly. First of all, I like to commend FDOT and your efforts to have this final design, because in the beginning I heard things like we're going to dig a tunnel and all kinds of things, not from you, but from suggestions as to how we could, build this project eventually. And I think the biggest concern that people had during this, because it was coming to grips with the fact that this is inevitable. So how can we live with it? And the two things that they want to be able to do is to get to work safely and not have a big delay. And they want to be able to sleep at night. They wanted assurances that there weren't going to be lights and 10-foot tall vehicles. I'm talking about the tires 10 feet tall and the giant vehicles and all that. So they want to sleep at night. They want to get to work during the day. They want to have the level of dust down so it doesn't clog the air conditioners on their house. And that's the main thing. And so none of us can perform a miracle like parting the Red Sea and just have this done. It's going to take a while, but I urge everybody in my district, I've been getting calls even before I was elected to please call me with a concern if they feel that this is not being done. I will take your call on my personal cell phone, on my city cell. Email me. Everyone here is first initial last name at Deerfield Beach fl.gov. So it's easy to find us. Call City Hall. And so just to summarize it, I did get some comments. What I'm trying to say is I like it. I heard several people say that they liked it, and I said, "What do you like about it?" And it was always the same thing. I like when it's done, because when it's done, it's really going to be great, and it'll solve a lot of problems. Anybody who is getting on 10th Street from Powerline to try to get on 95 to go to work at a certain hour of the day will have a much better way about it. They're not going to have that kind of congestion and everything. So I think it's a good design for now, and I do have the faith that you guys are going to listen to our concerns, and if anything falls through the cracks, that you'll do something about it. And I have a commitment from you on that, right?
Yes, you do.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Before the city manager goes, just those that may be wondering, Southwest 10th Street is the dividing line in our city between districts, the west portion from I-95 between Districts 3 and District 4. So on the north side, Century Village is actually District 3, Commissioner Shenetsky. District 4 is the south side, Waterford Homes, Waterford Courtyards. District 4 actually does a horseshoe around Century Village. So you go down Hillsborough Boulevard, around Century Village, and down 10th Street. So if you're wondering how the geography works, that's it in a nutshell. But Mr. City Manager, you wanted to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Clerk, could you put up slide 11 just for a moment? And I know in our meetings, Mr. Batsian, that we've gone over a lot of the technological aspects of the project itself. And I think what's important for everyone of the city to know is that this project, although it's 10th Street, Southwest 10th Street, this impacts the entire city. So the community outreach is of the highest importance, because it's everybody from the beach side all the way west, from the north and all the way south. And I just wondered if you could, again, make some comments about the technology that's going to be there, because I think people need to realize that I think this is going to end up making us the smartest city in Broward County with all the technology that's coming in. But the technology, my understanding, is coming from all the way from US 1 all the way out to Powerline and from Hillsborough and all the way down south. So if you could touch on that, because this community outreach aspect is important, because I think oftentimes we neglect some of the other areas of the city and focus strictly on what's immediately next to 10th Street, but the impact is the entire city as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. And just to kind of repeat what I said before, what is shown here on the corridor that really, as the city manager kind of mentioned, it does cover a wide breadth outside of the just the basic limits of I-95 and Southwest 10th Street. So we are going to be starting with part of our early works is this transportation systems and management operations smart work zone. So we're going to be putting into place early into construction, very early, so we can utilize it when the heavy construction begins. So we'll be putting devices along State Road 7, US 441, Power Line Road, Dixie Highway, US 1, and then on Hillsborough Boulevard and Sample Road. And along with that, we're putting in cameras to help monitor traffic and congestion to see how the traffic is flowing or if incidents do occur. We will have moving vehicle devices to kind of basically give information back to the operators about how the flow is occurring. And information will be able to feed that back to the motoring public through these overhead message devices. The one thing I didn't mention, which we are going to explore and implement, is basically using more of the technology to allow connected vehicle type systems to be in place, where we have some roadside units that can communicate with apps. We were looking at developing an app where we can have units along the roadway communicate with people that have the apps on their vehicles, also communicating with like Waze, other types of existing applications, and to give people real-time traffic updates of what's occurring. And if an incident does occur, it gives information so they can react to it.
Answer your question, Mr. City Manager? You're welcome. I don't see any more lights from my colleagues, but I do see a couple hands. This is it's a presentation. It is not an agenda item. So, Madam Clerk, we're going to open it up to 3 minutes to the individual. I only see folks online and those here in the public too. If you have any public comment, go ahead and do so now. If you have any questions, Mr. Boshin and his team's emails were on the last slide. Feel free to email them with your questions. I don't know, we're going to be able to do a question and answer session tonight, but if you have comments that you'd like to make, I think now would be an appropriate time to hear that. And I think FDOT would like to hear the comments as well, since everybody's here. So I see 4 online. Anyone that wants to speak in the chamber can do so next. So Madam Clerk, I'm just going to call them as I see them online here. And so 3 minutes each, and we'll start with Bernie Parnas. I've heard that name before. Mr. Parnas?
Thank you, Mayor. I've been involved with the project for 10 years, before I was commissioner and today. I spent 8 years trying to get answers and have not gotten them yet. Century Village is 50 years old. Cement buildings along 10th Street. What kind of danger are they in from jackhammers? And if there is damage, who's going to pay for it? Is FDOT going to fix the damaged buildings? That's one. 2, they're building a noise barrier of 22 feet, supposedly. At the last meeting I attended and asked, what is the decibels of the new highway? And they said 96 decibels. And how much will the wall reduce it? Your engineer, sir, said 5 points. In other words, 91 decibels. We have an ordinance in the city that above 50 is an offense. How do you rectify that?
Thank you, former Commissioner. Next, I see Ellen Kay. Ellen Kay, you're up.
So I also have been involved with meetings about this road, actually probably 40 years ago when my mom first came to my grandmother came to Century Village. I'm a 3rd generation Century Villager. One thing I'd like you to share is the total amount of time saving that will happen in east to west direction after this phenomenal project is done?
We need your name and address for the record, please. I'm sure Madam Clerk can get Mr. Parnas.
Yes, Ellen Kamhi, Kamhi, 396 Markham R.
Thank you. Next is Gwen Clark Reed. I think I can answer that question. I think it's about what, a $500 million project to save 7 minutes? Was that roughly the time frame, Mr. Bastian?
With the time frame, we did an average time frame, but time frames are going to vary obviously as the traffic varies. So there's times of the day now that to get through this three miles takes 25 minutes for people. So where you're traveling, if you're traveling through the corridor, you will have basically nonstop. So, and that's taking a lot of traffic off local Southwest 10th Street. So 7 minutes could be an average, but there's certainly times of the day where it's going to be much greater than that. So you're going to have a lot less traffic. You're going to have more of a local feel to the roadway. Right now, where you've got more of the trucks, a lot of the vehicles that are taking regional trips, mixing in with it. You're going to see a big difference when the project is complete as far as how that local roadway operates than it does today.
Thank you. Back to the comment, Gwen Clark Reed, former state representative.
Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way, Deerfield Beach. I've heard all the timelines that you all have been involved with the project, but I think I've had the longest time range of having heard about this project along 10th Street. My concern is what is going to happen with the 1045 project and this construction. How will they decide on some kind of building timeline? And this is interfering with the travel from the east to the west. So I'm concerned about that. And I'm concerned, of course, about the FAU roadway and the development there, because that has a gas station right there. And I'm very concerned about the community living in that particular area. Thank you.
Thank you, former state representative. Before we go to Mr. Bork, there are two separate projects. The 1045 is the Southwest 10th Street and I-95 project. And obviously this is the roadway project, but the 1045 project is still under approval. And so there's a long way to go. When they get their act together, there will be some overlap between these projects, but I think it's too early to say when and to what extent. Next is Paul Bork. Mr. Bork, you're next. And that is the last person I see online, and then we'll go to anyone in the chambers that would like to speak. Go ahead, Mr. Bork. You just remuted yourself. Going once. Going twice. Okay, if he's able to unmute himself, Madam Clerk, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to move on to those in the commission chamber. Anyone in here would like to speak or have any comment regarding the Southwest 10th Street project? Ms. Boston, let's let the folks take the microphone, please. 3 minutes. Start coming up, folks. Who's first? Mr. Estrada, come on down.
Hey there, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Michael Estrada, 1431 Southwest 6th Way. Just want to say, with this project, I really do hope two things are kept in mind. One, obviously, the safety of motorists and pedestrians that are there. It's going to be just more traffic in general. We know that the city's growing. There's going to be more people coming through. It's inevitable. So just make sure that it's done in a way that keeps us safe. Two, I'm really excited to see the improvements that are going to be coming kind of in the surrounding areas to this project. I was just over at the Mayo Howard meeting yesterday looking at that park. And I would love for the city to think about how all of these projects and areas are connected. It would be a beautiful Deerfield Beach if we would be able to walk from the neighborhood to the park, go from the park, walk across the street, connect, with some sort of a footbridge and things like that. So even though this project may only cover kind of one specific area, just really want you all to think about how that's going to kind of connect with the people in the neighborhood. Obviously, there's going to be more traffic for a little while. It's just going to happen with construction. But I think we're going to look back, in 10 years from now when we have a new freeway that's kind of cutting out the congestion that would have been there otherwise. I think we're going to appreciate it. But really want us to think, how do we make sure that that's connected with the neighborhoods that are there? So really thinking through the pedestrians, really thinking through the kids that are going to be there at the playgrounds that we have at Mayo Howard. Obviously, you guys are going to, hopefully, they're going to be putting in new housing that's going to come as part of the development. So no, there's going to be more people coming and going, both on foot and in cars. So just really want to make sure we're keeping that focus. Two, really thinking through kind of the long-term planning of this. This is kind of, I imagine, going to be like the biggest thing that we have done to that freeway for quite a while. So really think through, I say this every time I come up, think about shade, think about walkability. It's going to take 20 years for the trees that we plant during this project to come to full growth and actually give us the shade that we want. But really think through kind of what do we want this project to look like over the next decade plus. So really keep that in mind as well. How do we make sure it's shaded? How do we make sure it looks nice? Deerfield Beach has some amazing people that work here. Places like the Arboretum are world-class, just like beautiful to look around. I would love to see that kind of intention brought to these other public projects as well. There's no reason we can't have, a really nice kind of to look at path as we're going. It doesn't have to kind of be bland. It doesn't have to be just set up there kind of cookie cutter. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Strada. I appreciate the great comments. I encourage you to go online to the Southwest 10th Street website. Some of the conceptual drawings of the shared use path on the south side are there, but I can assure you the folks sitting to my left, not my colleagues, but the staff to my left, in the back, they're all over the walkability and other issues that they're going forward. But thank you. Those are great comments. Anyone else in the chamber that would like to speak? Come to the microphone, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Mel Nass. I live at 3081 Oak Ridge U in Deerfield community. And so the reason why I'm here is first, some of you may recognize me. I've served for over 10 years on the City of Deerfield Marine Advisory Board as myself, my wife here.
Mr. Ness, before you continue, I don't mean to interrupt. Are your comments related specifically to the Southwest 10th Street project?
No,
or
this
or-
is
you wanted to speak during public comment, right?
right.
Okay, so that's coming up in a little bit
Wait, a
later.
little
This
bit
is
further?
just about
I'll be
Southwest 10th
back.
Street.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. That's what I thought. Anyone else that'd like to speak about the Southwest 10th Street only project right now? No? Paul with issues would like to try again. Can we, I don't see him online. Okay, Mr. Bork? Tonight's just not his night, unfortunately. If you're able to chat with him, please tell him to email his comments and any questions, and we'll see what we can do to get them answered. Otherwise, I'm gonna move on. Thank you, Mr. Bastian, for you and your team being here this evening. Again, we look forward to the robust public outreach going forward. And we'll go to item number 7 tonight, presentation of the summary of findings report for the Dixie Highway Community Outreach and Rezoning Project. Mr. Jones?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission, City Clerk, City Manager, Bernard Jones, Redevelopment Project Coordinator. I'm excited to be here to give you an overview of the Dixie Highway Community Outreach Project. April 20th, 2020, the city partnered with Urban Land Institute to conduct a technical assistance panel report for the Central City area. That report discussed zoning codes, regulations, and other items that could stimulate economic development growth. One of the major findings of that report is they wanted the city and the community to strengthen their relationship. April 2023, city staff presented the redevelopment plan for the Central City area. The plan strategies included build and strengthen community relations, support small businesses and incentivize local employment, reduce slum and blight, incentivize catalytic development. The plan discussed, again, the inclusion of the community. This particular project targets Dixie Highway, Hillsborough, 4th and 10th Street. The goal of this project is to actively engage the community with the city staff and the consultants to come up with a strategy and plan for redeveloping and rezoning Dixie Highway. City staff began an RF process to identify local consultants that had the technical expertise to make this happen. The group that was selected, LM Genuine Solutions, was selected to provide services for this project. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lisa Martinez with L&M Genuine Solutions to discuss the community findings, and Chris Sonnenson and I will be available at the end for questions and answers.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and Manager. Wonderful to be here today. My name is Lisa Martinez. I am the CEO of LM Genuine Solutions, and me and my team have had a really true pleasure of working on this project over the last 7 months or so. Today, you will hear a presentation about the community considerations that emerged from the engagement process. The purpose of today's presentation really will focus on 3 main points: summarizing the community engagement process and outcomes, just outlining all the steps that we took, highlighting the community-driven priorities for the corridor's future, and then also presenting detailed considerations to guide future development, zoning, investment, and program development. And I do want to be able to emphasize that this was to inform the zoning, the rezoning process, but we did end up hearing a great deal more because residents, business owners, youth are not necessarily versed in exactly what the zoning ordinance is, but they most certainly have a good sense of what they'd like in their city. And so they wanted to be able to share comprehensively, and we've captured that feedback. So the engagement process, and you will see pictures of many of you that were part of the process along the way. Key activities began in November and December. We established a work plan that was approved by the city, and then we established a host committee. Some host committee members are in the audience today, and we established that host committee with the purpose of making sure that as we embarked upon our work, that it was informed about residents' priorities, authentic resident engagement, and making sure that we were thinking through considerations of the Deerfield community that we may not know about. January and February, we spent time with the city staff in partnership in a canvassing effort in making sure that we connected it was Pioneer Day. We also went through knocking on doors of businesses, nonprofits, so that everybody would be aware that this process was going to get kicked off. We had a public kickoff meeting at Tigner Center on March 3rd, 2025, and we had an opportunity to be able to not only explain the intent of the project, but we also had an opportunity to be able to begin gathering insights and input around key themes. We spent about 2 weeks over the course of 3 days, 6 focus groups, making sure that we engaged residents, community leaders, faith-based leaders, business owners, developers, realtors, and gaining their specific insights through a focus group approach. We also held a preliminary findings meeting. All the content that you will see today The preliminary findings, structured in very similar format, was shared with the community overall, and we wanted to be able to make sure that we validated that we had heard correctly. They had an opportunity to be able to share what they heard, to see if we got it right. If they had further insights or feedback, then we were able to capture that. And then finally, just last week, we had an opportunity to be able to just provide this overview to the host committee to ensure that we were validating that process. And through this process, we not only led an engagement with active city staff participation, and I will tell you from the very beginning, city staff said this is a collaboration because it is a priority for us to be able to develop and sustain relationships beyond the engagement of LM Genuine Solutions, and that was an integrated strategy throughout the whole process. The host committee guided outreach and strengthened community connections. They helped distribute flyers for the kickoff meetings. They helped engage individuals to participate in the focus groups. They participated in the canvassing efforts, and they were instrumental in making sure that the community was aware of the effort. Through this process, and we are the first part of the process. WGI is the consultant that will be working through the rewrite of the zoning ordinance, and they actually participated in all of the engagement efforts as well, listening at the kickoff meeting, participating in the focus groups, as well as participating in the preliminary findings meeting. I do want to make sure that through this entire process, there was a clear community vision that emerged consistently in everything that we heard. Growth must honor the corridor's historic, cultural, and civic legacy. Revitalization should support legacy residents, businesses, and institutions. That was heard at every step of the way. Future development must prioritize walkability, economic opportunity, and community life. So that at the heart of everything that we worked on was undisputable. The work that you will see today, you have a report that goes into deep detail, but this provides you an overview of the key considerations. It's categorized and organized in key themes. Housing and neighborhood character is one theme. Local businesses and mixed-use corridors, infrastructure, parking and mobility, parks, green spaces and civic gathering areas, faith institutions and cultural preservation, and youth, families, and community life. I do want to emphasize again at the beginning of this presentation, I shared that we really had an opportunity to listen to the priorities, concerns, interests, vision of the residents and other stakeholders across your community. And in listening to them, we understood that what we were gathering was not only related to the zoning ordinance, but a lot of different priorities that emerge as residents and business owners have. And so we have made sure to underscore that these are community considerations, some that might be relevant to WGI as they do their work, but might be relevant to other prioritizations of different work that you will do in the city when you come to budget processing or prioritizing of projects. So now we'll just go into just highlighting some key elements in each theme. Within housing and neighborhood character, it was clear that the community spoke clearly that supporting moderate density with limiting heights to 3 to 4 stories, but there was conditional support for 30 to 60 units acre near transit, as long as there was affordability and design protections considered. And that there's a healthy tension between the two, and in trying to be able to make sure that the work ahead contemplates that healthy tension will be important. Promoting mixed-use residential formats near key nodes, and protecting legacy homeowners and promoting affordable ownership. So there are individuals that own land, they want to be able to develop it, they want to be able to be part of that process. And then because of the fact that they're local landowners and faith-based institutions own land, but they do need the supports to help develop capacity on how to develop, how to be able to approach it in the complex process that would be required. The other theme is local businesses and mixed-use corridors. Key priorities that emerged is supporting small, walkable retail and services, promoting mixed-use corridors, blending residential and retail, managing grocery store development scale. So there was mention in surveys that a need for a grocery store was important, but also making sure that it was the scale of that grocery store was contemplated. Supporting legacy businesses with technical assistance and financial tools. fostering co-working spaces, live work units, and pop-up vendor markets, and engaging youth entrepreneurship. And it was interesting, we were just hearing from FDOT. So when you're thinking about infrastructure, parking, mobility, different topics, improving sidewalks, crosswalks, lighting, and traffic calming, addressing flooding at Southwest 10th Street, 14th Street, and MLK Boulevard. And this is just to highlight, during the preliminary findings meeting, we had 10th Street and MLK Boulevard, and everybody said, yes, those are accurate, but please also include 14th Street. So that preliminary findings meeting was an important component to kind of cast the net and see if we were capturing all the information. Upgrading bus stops with shading and ADA access, support shared parking strategies, and study feasibility of a pedestrian bridge over Dixie Highway. And in the detailed report, you will see much more context about the information that was highlighted, but this provides you a general overview. Parks, green spaces, and civic gatherings areas. An emphasis on making sure that the current parks, the existing parks, get upgraded. Adding shaded trails, fitness zones, and multi-generational public play spaces. Creating flexible gathering spaces where they could be utilized as amphitheaters, plazas for community events, and expanding the tree canopy and greenway networks. And then at the heart of the corridor, there are many different faith-based organizations, making sure that there's a focus on protecting historic Black churches and cultural landmarks, enabling churches to expand food, childcare, education, and housing services, facilitating faith-based development partnerships, and coordinating community service delivery across institutions. And then finally, with a focus on youth, families, and community life, expanding youth recreation and mental health programs, developing visible teen spaces, recreation centers, hubs, host multicultural events and food markets, and establish a family resource centers. And these are ideas that consistently emerge at the kickoff meeting, focus groups, surveys, as well as the preliminary findings meeting. So final reflections and next steps. At the heart of all the work that we gathered, it was clear that the prioritization of the residents and the stakeholders that participated within this comprehensive process focused in on the fact that growth must be equitable, culturally rooted, and community-led. The final considerations before you: provide a roadmap, a source of information to have an understanding of where your residents stand regarding zoning, infrastructure, and policy decisions. And as I've mentioned already before, the next steps really are multifaceted. One, this information will help inform WGI to develop zoning revisions based on community input. The city can also utilize this content that was gathered to integrate community priorities into investment and policy planning. And finally, a continued collaboration with residents, host committee, and stakeholders. They are ready, willing, and interested in being able to continue the collaboration with the city. And then I know that Chris was wanted to be able to wrap up the content. Yeah.
Mr. Sunnison, name and address for the record.
150 Northeast 2nd Street, Deerfield Beach 33441. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, I just want to wrap up with a couple of follow-ons from the last slide and a genuine thank you. I have learned throughout this process a lot about a part of our community that I wasn't aware of. And I think that leads back to what you heard at the very beginning with Bernard's introduction of building on a relationship that has started with this project. Without LM Genuine, who consists of Lisa Martinez, Juan Ramirez, who's in the back, he's the silent guy that runs everything in the background, and the newly matriculated Michelle Etienne. I do not believe, Dr. Michelle Etienne, lest I forget, I don't think that this would have gone as well as it could have, or as it has. And I would follow up by saying that this is a collaborative effort between two departments in our city. It's planning and zoning as well as economic development. Bernard and his efforts in the department have gotten us to this point, but it's not over. There's a long road to hoe with a zoning code change. Moving forward, we will be working with the host committee, continuing on the relationships that we have, to go through some explanatory items with zoning. I've been doing zoning for almost 20 years, but a lot of people in the general public don't understand some of the concepts that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so one of the things that we heard from the community was we need to know what 2 units per acre looks like, or what a setback does, or that sort of thing. So that's going to be part of our engagement moving forward. But long story short, I wanted to thank everybody that you've heard from this evening, as well as give you all the opportunity to ask any questions of the staff and the consultant. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great start. This is something that I've been a proponent of since I've been up here. Pioneer Grove will not be a success if this doesn't go this way. And what I mean by that is this isn't a project. This is a partnership with the community. And we can't look at it as, okay, the project is done, we've done our job. This is a partnership with the community. This is a lifelong partnership with the community. And that is the only way that we are going to be able to develop Dixie Highway as well as Pioneer Grove. So I thank you all for the first steps, and that's what this is. This is step one. And we have a long journey ahead of us. And I think we have the right people in place to make sure that we complete that marathon. Because it is going to be a long road. I do thank you for your efforts. But again, this isn't a project. This is a lifelong process and partnership with the community. And I do hope that after I'm off the dais and other people are here, that this continues for years to come. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I will piggyback that I campaign very heavily on the Dixie Highway corridor, because I believe it in my soul that is the fiber, the center part of our city, and that obviously needs some attention. And it's been a long history with Dixie Highway, but we can overcome those impediments, and this is a first step in that process. So it is a partnership, as the commissioner said, between not only the city, but the residents, the business owners, the churches, the other stakeholders that are in the area. So while I appreciate this being the first step in getting the community feedback, and the next step is going to be WGI giving us the zoning recommendations, we need someone to actually, when those recommendations are made, to take advantage of it, to do something with it. It's great for us to make the zoning revisions, but unless somebody takes advantage of it, it's all for naught. And so we really need to inspire and to spur development on that corridor, but it has to be development that the city can live with, and it has to be development that the residents can live with, because they have been there for a very, very long time. And so to breach, that distrust over the years, Mr. City Manager, I said it on the campaign trail, I'm going to say it tonight, is that I'd like to see a blue ribbon panel established, blue ribbon mayor's panel that will work with Mr. Jones and his team going forward, that consists of these legacy landowners, the business owners, and the churches. I have said it once and before that I believe that the churches are the key to this community, because the pastors and the bishops know those individuals as any pastor does. They know their wants, they know that when they hurt, they know when they cry, they know when they're happy. And so they know the fabric and know the feeling that's going on in District 2 and along the Dixie Highway corridor. And so I think that is going to be another key, is if we have that discussion, if we continue that discussion with those stakeholders along the way, and a panel that can report back to us and to Mr. Jones and the commission as we go forward, I think that collaboration will be key for a solution that we can all live with moving forward. It will take time, but you don't get there unless you start somewhere, and that is tonight. So I want to appreciate all those efforts. That is my recommendation. Please take that to heart. I see you nodding your head. Thank you very much. And then we have Commissioner Plout and then Vice Mayor Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that I thought it was a very refreshing experience to be part of that. And I do want to commend all staff, but in particular, Mr. Bernard Jones there, who really has an understanding of the community. He has a heart. He has a caring way. To be around him is to know how much he loves this city. I saw him with the Packer Rattlers too, you know. But in this, I think he, as you said, Mayor, just to paraphrase you, he helped us understand that area. We live way out west somewhere, you know, but and we talked a lot about having like some type of a community center around there in that area, particularly. Now, we didn't mention it tonight, but there will be a train stop there eventually, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a lot of people maybe don't know that, but they're planning on actually having a drop-off point, and that would be the Dixie Highway line, of course, and it wouldn't be a freight train, it would be the Bright line. And so I, along with some other people, suggested that we have like a little community area there where we could have entertainment and people could actually come down from Palm Beach, or they could come up from Fort Lauderdale. And that would help people come into that part of the city and then also realize that, hey, we're trying to build a tourist center here too. And we've got the Pioneer Grove project, and maybe we can incorporate our freebie ride over there, and then you can make a couple of stops during the night and go down the Cove and get back to the Bright line. In the future, we could tie all those things together. And it was quite refreshing to be a part of something like that. I went to all the meetings, and I had a greater understanding not only of the area, but of the people. And I also heard about the challenges down there. Terry Scott helps me a lot to understand the legacy that goes on down there, the generations of people that have been there, and the fact that there's a lot of landowners that maybe we're not asking people to sell their land, but we want to be able to help them to develop it. And if there are a couple of properties that something for the community that could be built, that people maybe might want to give up a property or something, there's never going to be an eminent domain put on any place as long as I'm alive and I have a say in it on any property around here. And so this is really focused on the community, and you can just working with the people, you can see the long love of the community. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm excited about the progress so far.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Preston.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Along with my colleagues, I agree that this is a very important first step. And this initial step actually creates a platform for better communication. However, there are some daunting challenges in front of us. And that is, there are so many entities that are private. And so in spite of the fact that we can be encouraged by this first step, we must remain really open-minded about the challenges that are going to be in front of us, of getting all of those entities, those private entities, to buy into one concept. How does that happen? How long does that take? Irregardless of the communications that throughout the community, if you were dealing with, just one or two people, that's one thing, but there's a lot of different entities here. So I think that we are headed in the right direction. I think that the more that the community is engaged, there's a platform to create better communication. And that's where the key is. Those entities that may have some misgivings, some skepticism about about what's being said here, that through more communication, those fears are lessened. And then at that point, we can take all of the ideas that are on the table and actually turn it into a real vision. But let's remain optimistic. This is a great first step, and hopefully it will just continue. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Good job, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Jones. You have any last comments?
Keep
Nope.
working.
Okay, back to work. Mr. City Attorney, we're up to number 8. Could you read that for us, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Item number 8 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Deerfield Beach and Deerfield Beach Cafe LLC for the lease of the city's Pier Restaurant for a 20-year term with 2 5-year renewal options, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This is second reading, and as a reminder, the adoption requires a 4/5 vote of the City Commission. I did do a fairly extensive summary at first reading. There is a memo from my office in the backup that details the specifics of the proposed lease amendment. As a brief recap, after a competitive selection process was done at the August 22nd, 2023 City Commission meeting, the City Commission passed and adopted an ordinance approving and authorizing execution of a lease agreement with Deerfield Beach Cafe LLC, now known as 202 DFB LLC. Under the lease for the Pier Restaurant space, the city was to deliver possession of the premises to the tenant on November 1, 2023, and the tenant was to diligently pursue construction of the improvements to the premises, then estimated at approximately $2.3 million, and commence paying rent to the city 6 months later. Due to circumstances beyond our control, specifically the prior tenant failing to vacate the premises when their lease expired, the city was forced to move forward with an eviction action, diligently pursued that action. The eviction was effectuated on November 27th, 2024. Thereafter, the city manager and myself have been negotiating with the tenant and the tenant's attorney to see if there was the possibility of moving forward with the contemplated lease arrangement outside of litigation. The amendment before you is the result of extensive negotiations. The key highlights, the rent amount isn't changing, the percent rent isn't changing. Under this amendment, the city would get the full 20 years of rent payments under this provision. There is a provision that provides for up to an additional 9-month extension for time period where the tenant would have possession, where rent would not need to be paid yet. Additionally, the possession date has been updated to June 1st, 2025. And the city would get a full release of any claims that the tenant would have against the city for not delivering the premises prior to the date in here. We also get an assignment of their claims with respect to the prior tenant, and there's a recovery split in relation to that. So in short, if this item is approved tonight on an affirmative 4/5 vote, possession would be turned over to the tenant on June 1, and they would start doing the improvements to the building, and the rent would be paid thereafter. They were given an additional 9 months. I'm here to answer any questions. I know we have representatives from the tenant as well as the tenant's counsel here today.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. I don't see any lights. Does the tenant or her counsel have anything they want to say? Nope. Okay. There's no lights. We'll go into public hearing. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up for this item tonight? Okay, Mr. Hers, go ahead, please.
Dan Hurst, 330 Southeast 19th Ave. At the last commission meeting, the District 1 commissioner said it's a shame that a member of the Peanut Gallery would defend a squatter. Let's explain why the president of the Peanut Gallery would defend a squatter. Before the Pier Restaurant lease, I had zero connection with the squatter other than admonishing her for allowing you to put an illegal campaign sign in her Pier Restaurant window in 2019. When I started coming to commission meetings again in 23, I was shocked to see the crooked scheme the commission was trying to pull off in awarding a new 20-year Pier Restaurant lease. How could an ITN that had attracted 21 applicants in the past only receive 3 responses this time around? That's easy. You advertise the ITN on the e-procurement system instead of marketing it to the restaurant brokers and other interested parties. That way you ensure that the city's favored candidate, Danielle Rossi, will win the bid. What evidence is there that the bidding was rigged for the Pier Restaurant from before day one? Remember Maureen Kenny, who the current mayor said, "If Maureen Kenny is your star witness, you have got a losing case." Maureen was the first to go into the Deerfield Beach Cafe months before the ITN was issued and tell the employees they would soon be out of a job because this restaurant has been promised to Rossi. Where did Maureen get this information? From none other than her best friend, former Mayor Peggy Noland, the most influential connected person in this city. Additional evidence came from Rossi's ex-employees at Oceans 234 who said Rossi ordered new ovens for the second floor way before the ITN was issued. During the whole procedure to determine the winning bidder from the three applicants, there were many signs of corruption that led me to further defend the squatter. In evaluating the bidders, the commission ignored the class action lawsuit filed against Rossi by 17 employees of Oceans 234 for violation of federal minimum wage laws. The current mayor said the $1.5 million difference in rental income the city would receive from the bid by Lou Moshakis compared to Daniel Rossi's bid was insignificant. Finally, there is Deerfield Beach purchasing manager Bogdan Avasilo, who allowed Danielle Rossi to be in his office and watch the oral presentation of her competitors via Zoom, a clear felony under Florida procurement law. Bogdan spoke about this at a commission meeting when he said Rossi being in his office was no big deal. It was a coincidence that Bogdan was fired by the city shortly thereafter. That's why I defended the squatter, Mr. Hudak, because I believe in fair play, not corrupt city government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hers. I will take issue with the corrupt city government. All of those allegations could have or were made in litigation, and every single one was rejected by a judge. Madam Clerk, anyone else online? Anyone else in the commission chamber would like to speak on the pier lease issue only? Seeing no one, close the public hearing. I'm not sure which light was first. We'll go with the one I see. Commissioner Plout.
I, for one, will sleep easy when we get this new lease in place. And the reason being, we don't have a pier right now, and we don't have a restaurant there either. And this is the second reading. So I'm not going to pontificate on all my feelings and thoughts and what I said the first time around. And we need a 4/5 vote on this, and we need a restaurant there. And it's laying right in front of us. Thank you.
Commissioner Hudak.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Schnetsky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes.
We are now at public comment. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. If you have public comment on an item that is on tonight's agenda, the time to do it is after I read the title into the record and the public comment period for that item is opened. No comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibilities shall be permitted.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. Nass has been very patient, so I'll call on him first this evening.
It sure has.
All right. Thank you very much once again. And so I'm Melvin Nass, and I live at Century Village, 3081 Oak Ridge U. Some of you may know me because I've served for 10 years on the City of Deerfield Marine Advisory Board. I serve also on Deerfield Island Park Board and other boards. One other board that I'm very proud of is Cornell University's Ag and Life Science Advisory Board for many years as the grape specialist, and that's the topic I'd like to bring up. And so there I was in retirement now for over 20 years, and my son Andrew, who grew up on our farm along with my wife, family farm operation, we grew to be America's leading grower, packer, shipper, broker of fresh Concord grapes throughout America and Canada, shipping tractor trailer loads of grapes to every supermarket, terminal market, produce markets in America. We ourselves grew 150 acres of grapes and tree fruits as well. What I wanted to bring to our community here, my community now, is my son Andrew came to me about 5 months ago and said, "Dad, we never did bring the exciting, great, delicious dessert of Concord pies to America. Let's do that." And we had spoken about that through the years, but we were so busy in our table grape business, we couldn't spend the attention. But we said, yeah, let's do it. And so we did launch a brand new corporation, the Concord Grape Pie Corporation. And we started the operation in something we were very familiar with, farmers markets, green markets. And there are currently none, I believe, here in Deerfield, but all the surrounding cities do have them. There were 3 of them in Boca Raton that we participated in. We participated at the end of the season in Parkland, and we just today I left a little check for $480 as just one of the merchants in the upcoming season. But that's a small piece of it, and also in Delray and
You have 3
in
minutes,
Loop.
Mr. Nash.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I want to make sure you get,
Yeah,
get your
so I'm
point.
getting to the point being that I think that the city of Deerfield should investigate again, because I believe there used to be a farmer's market in Pioneer Park, because that brings together the community, brings to them fresh fruits and vegetables and other pastries and what have you, products. And so.
All right, thank you, Mr.
I'd just like to volunteer to be, if I can, in any way of help to the CRA. These are worked through the CRAs in the other areas.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nass. Our CRA director is actually here. I don't know if it's a CRA project or not, but she's here, and if you want to go to the side, she can meet with you.
All right, thank you so very
Thank you.
much.
Miss
Yeah.
Miss Berner, you're next. You've been very patient too.
Thank you. This goes all the way to the lawyer and to, I believe his name is Ron from Code Enforcement. Hi, Carol Berner, Century Village. I want to preface this by saying that Mayor Gantz, as well as Commissioner Preston, knows how much the American flag means to me, because I believe they were here when I asked the city board at the time to put American flags at the beach on the lifeguard stands, which happily they are still there today. So I noticed that on Powline Road, there were 2 restaurants that had the American flag with their original or still their country's flag underneath it. I'm talking about their birth flag. And I called up the city to have that taken care of. As it turned out, Code Enforcement went out there and they had their flags on top of the restaurants the way actually our flag is here on this building. Apparently, they didn't have permits, I would think, because they were taken down. So I guess it was against code and maybe they didn't have permits. But one restaurant decided not to put any more flags displayed, at least at this point. One restaurant, and you will find the restaurant, the name of it on the back of what I sent you so that you know which restaurant I'm talking about, decided to get a flagpole and to put one flag, the American flag, on top, and then to put their original flag underneath on the same pole. The way it's supposed to be is the way we have our American flag there, and you put the other country's flag of origin to the right of the American flag. There are rules, there is etiquette, there is respect for the American flag, and not that they mean disrespect, it just means they may not know the proper rules. And if you look at the second page that I gave you, I underlined that there is no flag to be underneath the American flag during times of peace. And I would hate to think that we are at war with this country. maybe for cartels or something like that, but we are not at war with this country, and I am not looking for them not to display their flag. As a matter of fact, I spoke to the project manager in Century Village because we're getting a new gate put in. And I asked him, what are we doing with, are we getting a new flagpole? And he said, yes, he'd like to see a taller one put up, which of course I would love. So I said, what are you going to do with the old flagpole? And he said, well, first we have to see if it's going to be okay once we take it out or if it's rotted or something. And I said, do you think that we could donate it to the restaurant? Master management would do that perhaps. And because there's nothing against them having their flag up. So
Thank
I
you.
would appreciate code enforcement who may not know the law to actually look into this and make it right.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Berner. We need your address for the record. We know who you are. We just need your address.
3130 Cambridge F.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, does that fall under public safety? And I do see Sean in the back. Can he meet with Ms. Berner?
Yeah, Sean can meet with her. There's no federal provision for enforcement of any violations of the flag code.
There may not, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Okay.
please. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But the state was looking at enacting some legislation this last year, which we'll check into as well.
Okay, now I'm just saying, I don't think that the city can't on their own put something forward. Because as I said, we have nothing against it. I don't, and I don't think anybody else does. We just want it done properly.
Okay. Sean's in the back there. He'll get with you.
Sure.
Anyone else in the chamber that would like to speak during public comment? Seeing none? Close. Oh,
How you doing?
okay.
Good evening. My name is Gerald Dunnigan. I live at 425.
And there's online too. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Northwest First Terrace. I been here in Deerfield for the last 2 years. And I just want to say thank you to the mayor, to Vice Mayor Preston, Commissioner Shinesky, the city manager also. The 100-year celebration for Deerfield Beach, I was able to attend as a vendor. I have a restaurant. It's called Triple G's Barbecue. And it was a fantastic turnout. And all I wanted to do was say thank you on behalf of my staff, myself and my staff. Thank you to the city of Deerfield. I'm part of my staff. So thank you.
Okay, so that'll end your 3 minutes. Maria, name and address for the record, and your 3 minutes will start. Because I believe you have a different topic.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor. My name is Maria Blatch, 425 Northwest First Terrace, Apartment 105. Just want to say thank you to the mayor again. I'm back in April. I'm a part of our senior community at the Palms of Deerfield. We have a organization called Senior Complex of Unity. And back in April, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Plout came and socialized with us. And we just want to say thank you. At that time, I mentioned to him that we do have a few of our veterans that are in our building, and we were looking to have them honored or take part in the Memorial Day services or celebration. And Mr. Mayor had reached out and said he would. So we have like 3 older men there who signed up and would like to be a part of that commencement or celebration. If you want their names, I have them here.
No, I don't need them out loud. No. Mr. City Manager, did we look into arranging transportation?
Yes, we can accommodate them and a companion with them as well. So if you can just get that information to me, we'll take care of that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Blatch. Okay, I inadvertently overlooked the online participants this evening. So Madam Clerk, who's the first one? Mr. Hers? Mr. Hers, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Dan Hurst, 330 Southeast 19th Ave. You know how I hate to correct the mayor, but the city attorney can tell you, Mayor, there is still an open case in federal court entitled Class Act Restaurant Group versus City of Deerfield Beach, and I'll be happy to email you the case number. I have to say that I have been the recipient of Mel's pies when he brought samples to the Boca Raton Kiwanis meeting, and they are delicious. And I encourage you to try his pies. A few random items. There was a letter sent to Florida cities by the Florida Doge team requesting numerous items for review by the Doge team. The list of items was due by May 9th. Did the city comply with this deadline? There was also a very interesting Deerfield Beach Fire Pension Board meeting this last Friday at the Doubletree Hilton. The pension fund's performance dated March 31st was reviewed. The fund lost over $2 million during the first 3 months of this year, but I would like to concentrate on the fund's 5-year performance for the period ending March 31, 25. The fund returned 64% for that 5-year period. As a basis of comparison, the well-known index fund named the S&P 500 had a 91% return for that 5-year period. The actual dollar difference in performance was $28 million. I know the investment rules of the fund don't allow 100% investment in large cap funds, but the underperformance of the investment manager and actively managed funds is a detriment to the retired firefighters as well as the Deerfield Beach taxpayers, who on average have had to pay out $7 million plus per year for the last 3 years. I wish the District 4 Commissioner with 39 years experience in financial services could have attended the meeting. If he would like a copy of the March 31st investment report, just email me at danhers@comcast.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hers. Madam Clerk, anyone else online? Okay, that will then almost conclude the public comment tonight. Mr. Estrada?
Hey there, Michael Estrada, 1431 Southwest 6th Way. Apparently there was an election for president of the Peanut Gallery. I think I missed that one. But glad I voted in the other one. So thank you very much for the sidewalks that were added between 14th Court and 14th Place. Ms. Gwynn was ahead of the curve there, no pun intended, and she's had sidewalks for years before I even came back over. But it's great to have the sidewalks there. I have a new neighbor right across the street, and she was telling me that her daughters are just so excited to have sidewalks that they can ride their bikes on, and so that's just really cool to think. We're gonna have, a bunch of kids that are growing up in our neighborhood that just know what it's like to have sidewalks. Seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing for us. With that, I would love for us to look at possibly adding some speed bumps along those two streets. There are people that kind of come around that bend a little quickly. We've lost a number of dogs, unfortunately, around that bend. And, at this point, luckily it hasn't been a kid, but would definitely love for us to think through how we could kind of curb some of that speeding there. But again, thank you very much for putting that in place. I saw in one of the presentations earlier, they were mentioning the word, I think they called it a connected tree canopy for the Dixie Highway project. And I just love that phrasing. And I would love for us to think how to kind of bring that ethos just to everything we do in the city. Again, I say this all the time, shade is just such an important thing. It is so hot. It's only getting hotter. But when you're in the shade, it really feels like it's 20 degrees cooler. And I don't know about you all, but it's a lot easier for me to be out and about spending money in the city when I can be outside and it's not super, super hot. So please can think through that connected tree canopy, how we can bring that around. And again, it's actually funny that we had a couple of the vendors here. I would love for there to be more opportunities. I know just in my neighborhood alone, there's like 5 or 6 people with food trucks that have different mobile businesses that they run. And it would just be amazing if there was more opportunities for us to be able to come to the people in our own community and be able to kind of spend with them, shop with them, have them out at the event. You guys do a great job of bringing them out to the events that we do. But it would be amazing if there was just, even if it was a bi-monthly thing where all the different food vendors in Deerfield were able to set up at the Arboretum or set up somewhere for us to go and be able to check what they're doing and not have to drive out to go catch them somewhere else. And then last thing, unfortunately, I wasn't in town for the last sip and stroll at the Arboretum. I heard it was another great event and sold out super quickly. Please, 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 like, let's continue to add more of those events. It sells out every time. I know there's a cost that comes along with running it and being able to operationalize it, but it would just be awesome if there was more opportunities like that for us to be able to get out and socialize, especially as summer's coming up. I know there's a lot of big events that are planned, but utilizing the Arboretum more would be really helpful. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. Appreciate the comments. The speed hump process is a petition process. So if you want to email, text, call, smoke signal me, I'll get you the application to get that started. Anyone else? Last call. Former Commissioner Battle is coming, and I'd also like to recognize that former Mayor Gans is with us this evening as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Battle is coming, 1240 Southwest 6-Way, Deerfield Beach.
2 of your minutes were spent walking up here.
Yes, and you must know it's about code. I am just livid as to what's going on in our neighborhoods. I live on 6-Way. New people come in and they bring, and I am not against anybody with their food trucks or whatever the case may be, but to park them on your front lawn when they're not out servicing the public. If we don't have an ordinance against that type of thing, we need to have an ordinance. I know out in Coral Spring, your work truck or whatever, you're not allowed to park those things in your driveway or on your front lawn. And it's just getting to be ridiculous. Our property values are going down, and I would just like to speak with somebody with code or even my commissioner to talk about what's going on in our neighborhood down on Southwest 5th, well, down below 10th Street, but it's all over the city, I hear. There are numerous cars that are parked, 12 and 13 cars parked around the house at night. That shouldn't be going on. And I'd like to see us do something about that, by the way. And I know we're into enforcement instead of code, basically, but we got to come up with a solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. If you walk straight, go straight back. Waving at you is Sean, and Roy is with him. They're with code compliance. They'll be happy to talk to you right now. Anyone else this evening? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Mr. City Attorney, I'm going to take the consents from 9 through 12 first separately.
Okay.
And then we'll do the other bulk. So I don't think you need to read all 9 through 12, right? Can we just take 9 through 12 as a group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are on to 9 through 12 consent for the board appointments. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on items 9, 10, 11, or 12? There's nobody in the chamber, but I do see one participant online. Is that what you needed, Madam Clerk? Okay, Mr. Hers, go ahead and speak. And you said, the clerk said on item number 10.
That is correct. Thank you. Dan Hurst, 330 Southeast 19th Ave. Before I talk about the choice of appointees to the Charter Review Committee, I think it would be very informative to remind everyone of what our current mayor said on August 20, 2024 regarding forming a Charter Review Committee, and I quote him, "I have a sinking suspicion this may have something to do with removing the height restrictions here in the city, because why else would you want to review the charter?" End quote. By the way, the mayor's quote did not make it into the official minutes of the August 20, 2024 commission meeting. I am opposed to the appointment of Peggy Noland to the Charter Review Committee. I would think the mayor would want his appointee to the committee to be honorable and have a stellar, blemish-free record. Unfortunately, that is not the case with Peggy Noland. I know most of you up on the dais are not on social media, so you have no idea what I am talking about. Let me preface my remarks by saying that I have evidence for everything I'm about to say. Peggy Noland committed campaign finance fraud during the election that made Bill Gans mayor and Todd Drosky the District 4 commissioner. You can read all about the details on social media, so I won't waste time rehashing it again here. It's a violation of Florida Statute 106.09, a first-degree misdemeanor. The statute of limitations has expired on this crime, but the court of public opinion remains open forever. That is why Peggy Noland should never be put on any City of Deerfield Beach committee ever again. I am also totally in favor of the vice mayor's choices for the Charter Review Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hers. Madam Clerk, is there anyone else online that would like to speak? Is there anyone else in the commission chambers that would like to speak on items 9, 10, 11, or 12? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. No lights. Is there a motion?
I'd like to pull item 12, item 10. Wanted to talk a little bit about it.
Okay, so we will pull number 10 at Commissioner Hudak's request. Let's go ahead and vote on 9, 11, and 12. Is there a
Motion to approve 9, 11, and 12.
Second.
Motion to approve 9, 11, and 12 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? None? Okay, let the record show unanimous consent for 9, 11, and 12. Number 10, Commissioner Hudak.
Item number 10 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, appointing members to the Charter Review Board and providing for an effective date.
I just want to say that my 3 minutes are up. I am very excited about this Charter Review Committee. This is something that I proposed at and the last dais approved. And the whole reason for this Charter Review Committee, again, is I think it's vitally important that the citizens have an opportunity to review the city charter. This is their city charter. The last time this charter was reviewed was in 2006. So as I said last time, you couldn't look at it on your iPhone because the iPhone didn't come out until 2007. So the fact of the matter is that the document that is the lifeblood of our city should be reviewed by the residents, and it should be on a regular basis. And I want to personally thank this previous dais for allowing that to happen on a regular basis. And I thank this dais for moving forward with it and appointing some stellar individuals. And so I'm very excited about the process. And again, for those of you who are not aware, once the Charter Review Committee looks at the charter, and these are individuals that individuals on the dais here have appointed, they will make a recommendation to this dais. If we don't agree with that recommendation, it doesn't go any further. If we agree with whatever their changes are, then it gets put on a ballot, and then the voters have an opportunity to make a decision on whether or not whatever the change may be goes forward. So it's not like the Charter Review Committee comes up and the changes is made, or the Charter Review Committee comes to the dais and then the change is made. The ultimate decision makers will be our residents. So I look forward to the review committee. They may come back and say it's fine and dandy, and that's fine. In 10 years, we'll look at it again. But I just think it's important checks and balance process that that is going forward in our city. So I'm thankful for it. And a motion to approve.
Mr. City Attorney, because it was pulled and discussed, do I need to reopen it to the public again, or are we good?
You already opened it to the public on this one, so
Okay.
you're not required to.
Okay, so motion by Commissioner Hudak to approve number 10. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Plout. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No, let the record show unanimous consent. Okay, Mr. City Attorney, we will now go to the consent items 13
Items 13 through
through
22
22.
are currently on consent.
Are there any polls on 13 through 22 by my colleagues? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, is there anyone online that would like to speak? Or first of all, did anyone submit a card for any of the items 13 through 22? Is there anyone online that would like to speak on items 13 through 22? Is there anyone in the commission chamber that would like to speak on items 13 through 22? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commission,
Motion to approve items 13 through 22.
I'll second.
motion to approve items 13 through 22 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. Madam Clerk, we need roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Shinesky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes. That brings us to item number 23. Mr. City Attorney?
Item number 23 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving a change order with Heavy Civil Inc. in an amount not to exceed $183,415.10, inclusive of a 10% owner contingency for additional services related to parking lot improvements for the Pioneer Grove Local Activity Center Drainage Improvements Project, approving a 20-day extension to the final completion date for the project, providing for execution, implementation, conflicts, and an effective date.
See Mr. Power on his way down, so I assume you'll be giving the presentation.
Eric Power, Director of Planning and Development Services and Interim Director of Environmental Services. This is the same presentation that I provided to you at the last or 2 meetings ago. So I just had this again as a refresher. As you're aware, City Hall has been doing improvements around the area for drainage, and during the project, we looked at some other ways that we can improve the area to include additional parking and to make what is Northeast 3rd Avenue a one-way northbound road, which BSO prefers. They can park parallel on this road and leave immediately along Eller. It provides additional parking spaces along the roadway. And in what you could call a swap, essentially, we're going to be taking a portion of the BSO parking lot to add as overflow parking, and in return, there will be the rear area that the city really doesn't utilize for our vehicles. We'll put a fence and make that part of the BSO lot. So when I brought this presentation to you last time, we had a conversation about it. We had an estimated cost, but we didn't have that exact number. Turns out our estimated cost was actually very close to what the number was that we were going to be proposing to you. So tonight is just the actual change order in front of you. If you have any questions about the item, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Power. Don't venture too far in case there's any questions. I don't see any lights, so we'll go to public hearing. Madam Clerk, did anyone online fill out a public comment card rather, for item number 23? Is there anyone online that would like to speak about item number 23? I don't see anybody online. Is anybody in the commission chamber that would like to speak about item number 23? Okay, I'm going to close public comment on item number 23.
Motion to approve item 23.
Second.
Motion to approve number 23 by Commissioner Hudak, seconded by Commissioner Plout. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Plout,
Yes.
Commissioner Shinesky,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Drosky.
Yes. We will move on to comments by administration and legal.
I just have one comment, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to thank the residents, especially the residents who came out from District 2 to the Mayo Howard Park meeting that we had the other night. There was very short notice for that meeting, but it was an important meeting so that our Parks and Rec Department can get a grant application in. We're working very hard to make sure we can get all the improvements in that park that everybody is looking for. That was one of the better turnouts that I have seen, and I see people that are even here that came to that meeting. We're very appreciative of that, and I encourage, I think it was brought up, I'm not sure who said it, but for people that are coming to those kinds of meetings where we're trying to engage the public, to bring somebody with you. And that was a great comment that was made by someone last night, and very appreciative. So thanks to all the residents, all of the community members that came out for that. And thanks to Parks and Rec for getting that organized as quickly as they did with this quick deadline for a grant application we're working on.
Beagle?
Yes, I do have some comments tonight. I think I threatened at the last meeting I'd give you an update on the Live Local Act bill that passed. So I'm going to follow through on that tonight, as well as to talk about a couple other bills that you should be aware of that passed. Keep in mind, these bills that I'm going to go over have not yet, to my knowledge, been signed into law by the governor. So there is a potential chance that they could be vetoed. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Senate Bill 1730. This was an amendment to the Live Local Act. If you recall, I know we've discussed that at several meetings in the past, but the Live Local Act effectively created somewhat of a preemption on the city with respect to affordable housing projects, where at least 40% of the residential development would be affordable for a period of 30 years. The preemption is for use. So even though a property may be zoned commercial or industrial or mixed use, they could still build a residential project there. It was for height, it was for density, and it was for floor area ratio. So with respect to this latest bill that passed, it makes clear that for the measurements for those 4 areas, that they effectively go back to, for example, if we're talking about height, what was the height allowed as of July 1, 2023, when the original Live Local Act was adopted? What was the highest density allowed in the city in 2023 versus now? And effectively, what's ever less restrictive is what prevails. So if like a city, for example, tried to make some amendments after that, this would effectively put that time frame measurement back to July 1, 2023, whichever is least restrictive. Additionally, we must allow these now in portions of any flexibly zoned area, such as a planned unit development permitted for commercial, industrial, and mixed use. We cannot require more than 10% of a non-residential use for a mixed-use development that meets the affordable housing standards under the law. They clarified now that when they're speaking about floor area ratio and preempting us on floor area ratio, that includes lot coverage. Additionally, they also further clarified that there's to be no reviewing body with respect to the administrative approval that is required under this law. Additionally, the city would be required now to reduce parking requirements for these developments by 15% if they're close to certain transit-oriented, like bus stops, things of that nature, and there's certain measurements for each one of those. Additionally, it provides for a claim for property owners who believe that a municipality or local government is violating the law, a civil lawsuit potential, with the potential to recover attorney's fees. So that's a brief overview of the amendments with respect to the Live Local Act. Again, it hasn't been signed into law yet, although I think we anticipate that it will be. And I have been in discussions with your planning director about that law and what the city may need to do to address it. The second one I'm going to briefly touch on is Senate Bill 954. This was adopted, not yet signed into law. It requires the local government to adopt an ordinance that provides an approval process for certified recovery residents. Some folks may know that as a sober home, but they're called certified recovery residents, and which also provides for a reasonable accommodation procedure. The city has actually had an ordinance on the books for years governing that, so we just need to take a look at it, and there may be minor tweaks that are needed to match the timeframes. Senate Bill 180, this is one that I think you need to be aware of. Senate Bill 180 was brought as an emergency management bill. However, very late in the legislative session, the 11th hour, an amendment was thrown in that provides restrictions on certain counties and cities' ability to adopt any comp plan amendments, land development regulations, or changes to the review, approval, or issuance procedures for site plans and development permits before October 1, 2027. And what it does is, effectively what it says is each county and each city within a county that's listed in the federal disaster declaration for hurricanes Debbie, Helene, or Milton, this applies effectively to you. And they go retroactive to August 1 of 2024. So any of those amendments that were made after August 1 of 2024, this may have implications for. So it kind of puts a freeze. And if you're thinking, well, great, we didn't really get hit too hard by Hurricane Milton, Debbie, or Helene, if you go to the federal disaster declaration website and you look at the list of affected counties, there's a variety of categories. I think Broward County is in the lower category, but if you just look at the black letter of what's in this law, Broward County is technically listed, even if it's listed at the lowest level. So there are concerns certainly amongst my local government brethren and planning staff as well regarding the effect this may have on the city's ability to take certain actions going forward, at least until October 1, 2027. Again, this was a late ad, so it wasn't something that was seen, let's say, by your lobbyist in January or February in this bill. Finally, I did want to report, as you all know, the city has a CRA. There were two bills moving forward that had different effects on the CRA. One of them would have prohibited new projects going forward for CRAs. The other one would have prevented the use of CRA money for special events. Both those bills were not passed. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. There was some language potentially that got added late into Senate Bill 110. It's a little unclear from their website, but it looks like it just prohibits the creation of new CRAs on or after July 1, 2025, and it would provide for CRAs to terminate on the earlier of the date in the CRA charter or September 30th, 2045. Our existing CRA is set to terminate, I think, in 2029, so we're not really impacted by that. So those are the four key ones I just wanted to bring to your attention, and we can have discussions later, and I'm certainly available to answer any questions you have about that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. That brings us to commission comments. District 1, Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First thing is last Thursday, myself and the mayor actually had the honor of attending the Youth Automotive Technology Center's graduation. So what the YATC is they basically take local students who didn't graduate high school and needed some direction and some trade. And they teach them the trade of automotive repair, and then they help them find jobs. They only take 30 students. This graduating class actually had 29 students graduate. And I would have to say 60 to 70% of them already have a job lined up in the automotive industry. Some of them, probably 40% of them, have gotten their GED while there, and a couple of them actually got their high school diplomas. This is an absolutely tremendous organization that JM Family started and runs. And I just want to make sure that the city looks at increasing our partnership with this organization. There were sponsors, and at a minimum, I think we need to at least sponsor this event. JM does a tremendous amount of positives for our city. And if it wasn't for that organization, I don't know who else would have stepped up to the plate to what they do for us. But I'm not even going to go into the numerous things that JM Family does for the city of Deerfield Beach. I do know that we help them with the lease of the building and the land, and I think that's tremendous. But I think that I know that there are other things that we can do to partnership with them and just to show them how much we appreciate what they do for our city by giving back to them because they give back to this community. Again, these are children that didn't have a direction. These are children that didn't get through high school. And these are the children that are in most danger of going down the wrong path. And JM Family has taken them under their wing, and they have taught them a trade. And again, one of their mantras, which is a great one, which is don't wish for success, work for success. And that's what they teach these kids. And I'm glad to see it, and our community is better for it. So I'm hopeful that we can find some ways to partnership with this organization to a greater extent than we already do. A Historical Society. So we've got some celebrations this week coming up. Historical Society has their Memorial Day celebration where they'll have the flags up. And that is going to be on Saturday, May 24th, 10 o'clock in the morning at the Butler House. So I hope a lot of people show on up. The school zone cameras. So there was a lot of talk about the school zone cameras. They are up and they are working, and residents are getting warnings. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware, during school hours when the light's flashing, if you go more than 11 miles over the speed limit, you're going to get a warning right now, but the warnings will end and it'll be a ticket. All day, whenever school is in session, if you go more than 11 miles over the speed limit, you will get a warning, and pretty soon you will get a ticket. So my response to all of those residents who called me was, do the speed limit. Let's see. We also have a Memorial Day event for the city. I don't know if anybody else is going to talk about that. So I won't steal your thunder. How about that? And that'll be all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. District 3, Commissioner Shinetsky.
Well, I want to say District 3 is in excellent shape. I just recently went to a meeting in Century Village Master Management, and I introduced our new Public Safety Director, Sean Gladue, as well as I invited also, he came, Adam Hofstein, and they spoke about the concerns with Century Village concerning safety, especially how the Southwest 10th Street project will impact them. And both the director and Adam gave reassurance that they'll be there to help them out. So it was an excellent meeting, and they were very pleased to meet Sean and to welcome him. Century Village is one of the larger communities in Deerfield Beach. I'm also setting up in June a meeting for basically a nonprofit food bank to have access to residents in Century Village who are in need, senior citizens who are living paycheck to paycheck or benefit to benefit, for them to have access to the food bank. So we're setting up a meeting in June with Century Village, so they'll be transported hopefully to this food bank to help them. Today I went to a condo owners associated meeting in Century Village. It's called Cookvie, and there were some questions about traffic on Military Trail, especially by the east gate of Century Village. And we had those questions addressed. I spoke with Eric, and he was able to address those concerns. So I was very happy about that. So that's what's happening in Century Village right now. In terms of Crystal Lake, yesterday we set up a meeting, a special meeting with Crystal Lake HOA. And again, we had BSO Commander Adam Hofstein come, and he was addressing traffic enforcement. There are some issues concerning crime in the area, and he addressed the concerns excellently. And in fact, as a result, we're setting up a program where basically there's going to be a 24-hour enforcement observation of that area, and we'll be able to give suggestions on what to do for the community in terms of that. And also, there are a lot of concerns concerning Green Road. So with Adam had said he's going to be setting up a temporary traffic aisle that will basically give a warning for cars in Green Road to slow down, and also stop access for a temporary time period for truckers who are going down Northwest 18th Street. Also, I don't know if the gentleman was aware that spoke before, but there's a program by Deerfield Beach that they've been shouting out. It's called the Shady Tree Program. And basically what that is, that will give, the city will pay for 50% of buying trees as long as it's an approved landscaper, as well as 50% of installing trees. Now, Crystal Lake has a lot of it's all single families almost. And I made the Crystal Lake HOA board aware of that, and they're jumping on that. That's going to be a huge savings for Crystal Lake. So I'm very proud of that. Last week, I went to a nonprofit early education learning center, and they showed me what they do. There in Crystal Lake, there are a lot of families with small children, and they're having childcare issues. So basically, I set up a contact between Crystal Lake HOA and this nonprofit Early Education Learning Coalition. And they're going to do a podcast to make people aware of what they do to help them, young families, as well as they're going to be setting up a meeting with Crystal Lake HOA, because there's a large proportion of young families that have children that need child care. And finally, with Meadows at Crystal Lake, I'm very proud to introduce the Vice President, soon to be President of Meadows at Crystal Lake, Jim Giasolo. And basically, I told Jim about the Shady Tree Program because there are what 400 single-family residents that this will give them a substantial savings. So Jim is going to jump on that and save a lot of money for its residents. So we want to thank Deerfield Beach about that. I'm a veteran. I was in the U.S. Air Force from 83 to 87. I was also in the Naval Reserves. So I set up a meeting with the city manager and also the code enforcement director with a veterans nonprofit director. His name is Alan Polly. And basically, what some of the results of that meeting, very proud of that. Number one, on the Deerfield Beach website, there's now a new resource for veterans when they go to the Deerfield Beach website that will help them. And it's by Veterans Coalition of Coral Springs. So it's veterans helping veterans. So now when they go to the Deerfield Beach website, they'll be able to get an additional resource and help with veterans. And I'm very proud of that. Thank you. Another outtake that we came up with, and it's on the website right now. If you go to the veterans section, there's going to be a veteran parking program. It's basically give special honor to veterans. They'll be able to get select parking and venues. So that's very excited about that. Also, we're looking at a hometown hero banner program for veterans in the near future. I know Coral Springs has this hometown hero program. It's very successful and honors the veterans. So we're going to be having that in Deerfield Beach. It's on our website. And finally, in terms of veterans, there's a veteran-owned businesses honors and supports military veterans who has transitioned to having their own business, and they could outreach to the Deerfield Beach Economic Development, and they'll be helped on what they should do. They're new owners, they're new businesses, and we're outreaching to help them. So we're doing everything possible to honor our veterans, especially with Memorial Day weekend coming up. Now, a lot of my constituents have asked me about, how do you navigate the bidding process? Not only big vendors, but also small vendors. So I took it upon myself. I went to the Deerfield Beach website. I went to, it says purchasing. I went to procurement, and that brought me directly to the purchasing officer with a phone number and an email. I called up the purchasing officer. She was wonderful. And basically, she directed me on what to do to register if you want to be a vendor. To register, it's called Deerfield Beach Iron Wave. And it has a list of all the bids coming up. So if you're a vendor and you want to know how they can get involved with the city, just go to the Deerfield Beach website and we'll help you. The other thing is I want to give congratulations to Deerfield Beach because Deerfield Beach achieved the 2024 Tree City USA status. It's a big honor, and it shows the community, Deerfield Beach's unwavering commitment to the planting and care and celebration of trees. So we were honored with that honor. Besides that honor, I would like to say, and I said it at the last meeting, we should go for All-American City. It's too late for 2025, but I'm maybe tasking to look into Deerfield Beach going for All-American City, at least to go for the process. We have a lot of great things. We need to tout our horn. There's also Best Neighborhood, and we need to also tout our horn for that. And recently, USA had a Best Beach program to honor the best beaches in South Florida. I know Fort Lauderdale and Lauderdale by the Sea were nominated. Maybe tasking Deerfield Beach, let's tout our beach, especially when the restaurant is up and running, and especially when that pier is up and running. It's going to be beautiful. Let's tout it. We need to do that. We're in competition with our cities. And finally, at the last meeting concerning the fireworks, and we're going to be doing the drone show in Deerfield Beach, which is wonderful. But I know a few years ago during COVID, Quiet Waters Park had a fireworks show, and it was a success. And I know there are a lot of people saying, hey, why can't they bring a celebration to West Deerfield Beach, which is my area and Tom's area? And I think maybe we should look at maybe having fireworks in Quiet Waters Park again. It was a success. And also, I want to throw something out. In my area in District 3 in Crystal Lake, there's Tam O'Shanter Golf Course. Now, it was stopped in 2006. So it's been almost 20 years, or 2005, just 50 beautiful acres just out there. I did a tour of that about a month or so ago. It's 50 beautiful acres, and I'm saying, let's do something with it. And I know we have plans to make it a park in the future, and that's wonderful. But one little item came up in my head that maybe we could have a fireworks display in Tam O'Shanter Golf Course. This way, Western Deerfield could get in show also. Now, I contacted Zembelli, and they said, they're all filled up for July 4th. But I know this is the 100th anniversary of Deerfield Beach. Why not? We could celebrate it in August. We could celebrate it in September for Labor Day. Why not look into maybe having a celebration fireworks in Tam O'Shanter Golf Course, or maybe again, Quiet Waters Park? One of the representatives for Zamboli is more than happy to come down to do an assessment of that area. And he said that basically they would adhere to all fire codes. So safety-wise, we would be okay. And there, in terms of cost, of course, you could have a big show, but there's also more sedate shows. And so maybe we could look into looking at that. I maybe like to maybe task us into looking, maybe we could have a fireworks show in Tam O'Shanter Park in this fall or this August, so we could still have our fireworks to celebrate. So that's all I have to say.
You sure?
I think so, yeah. Then thank you. And happy Memorial Day or celebration.
Commissioner 4, District 4, Commissioner Plout.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief, but no, seriously. It's really an honor to serve this city. I'm trying to make my way around not just my own District 4. I know it's going to get busy when they tear up the road down there, but right now it's a little bit on the quiet side. I'm just trying to learn everything I can and go to every activity to see what's going on. A couple of places, my wife and I attended the Cuisine of the Island charity at the Braithwaite Center. That was a great party. Last week they raised a lot of money for charity, but one of the highlights for me was before the event started, Mr. Salas showed my wife and I around to show them the daycare center for senior citizens and everything that they're involved in, explain the funding. And I knew it was a senior center, but I really didn't know until I took that tour just how involved and how caring this city is for seniors, and how the buses bring the folks in and then bring them back home around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's awesome. Also, I'm trying to keep an eye on my district for businesses that are opening. And as a city manager explained to me, a lot of the businesses don't tell us that they're opening, but I found a store that was opening called J. Crew. They had they advertised a ribbon cutting, but didn't really notify the city. And that was in the public shopping center where the Paragon Theater is, and in that shopping center there in West Deerfield. That would be on the southwest side of Hillsborough and Powerline. And it was 9 o'clock in the morning, and I went up about 10 of and knocked on the door. And they said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm the District 4 Commissioner. We want to welcome your business." And they were just astounded. Invited us in, got some pictures, talked to people. They opened the doors. A lot of people were shopping. And then my wife had to see this sweatshirt. It was a black sweatshirt, and it said one thing on it, 1983. And she goes, "1983, honey? That's the year we got married. That's the year that we moved into Deerfield." And we said, "Well, what's the significance for J. Crew?" "Well, that's when we were founded." So of course we had to tell them that, and now we're all buddies. And I bought a sweatshirt or two. Okay. It was a fun time. Saturday I went to see the Packer Rattlers. They were signing people up and working out on the field. I met Coach Jermaine. Bernard Jones, I mentioned earlier, his son was there. What an outstanding citizen. He's he trains fighters. He's going to be a coach. for those kids and finishing up a master's degree by the end of the summer. I mean, what an intelligent young man, and a tribute to what Bernard Jones did to raise his family. And then I think one of my biggest highlights, and a promise that Terry Scott made to me, was he was going to show me around the Deerfield Beach Housing Authority. So I went over there, and the director, LaToya Coley, and Terry showed me around. And once again, I was astounded at what's going on here in Deerfield Beach and what the Housing Authority does to help entire families from avoiding being homeless, to give them a temporary shelter, sometimes a little bit more than temporary, but they're helping people get on their feet, and the funding that they have is critical. So they appreciate any help, but it is a pretty healthy organization, and it's been in existence for a long time. I was really great about that. To bounce off of what our city attorney, Mr. Soroka, was saying about the legislation coming down from Tallahassee, that really does affect us. And I saw it firsthand on a Florida League of Cities post-legislation webinar just a few days ago, where they gave all those updates. So I've kind of heard it twice now, and I understand it a lot better. Then, of course, we had our great celebration, the centennial, one of our big centennial events, the Ocean Brews and Blues. The bands were unbelievable. I just can't believe the city staff, what they go through. They're there at the break of dawn. They set up tents, cooling stations, stage, all the things, the vendors that come in, the bands. Thank God, an air-conditioned tent for some of us people that can't take the heat. That was amazing. So I had the time of my life Saturday night. It was really an honor. I was a little late to the Mayo Park on Monday night, because I had another engagement, but I never really was at that park. And boy, is it large, I mean, it's larger than you might think. And they got some great things going on there. So I've been to a lot of places. I learned a lot of things, but generally I've been getting used to people that want to get the attention of a commissioner to notify the city. And then the city will ask me, hey, do you want to go to this? Do you want to go to that? You can RSVP. Well, I got an email back on April 30th, and it was directly to me, bypassed the city, and said, geez, if you can't make this, pass it along to someone else. So I'm going to beg off what you're saying with the Early Learning Coalition of Broward County. They had a breakfast this morning at 9:00, and it's down on Cypress Creek Road. And I thought, this never really went through the city, but I'm just going to go to everything, Maybe I shouldn't be going outside the city, because I didn't really know a lot about what was going on. So I find out that this is a charity for daycare, and they have money, and they are trying to get a message out that they can pay a big, substantial amount of childcare so that people can have quality childcare. Now, how did this start? The Early Learning Coalition started as a statute in the state government by Governor Bush in the year 2000. And what they found out was that 90% of the development of a child happens in the first 5 years. So that preschool is very, very critical. The other thing is the state found out that they're losing billions of dollars because a person that could hold a job for their family is busy taking care of a child or two because they can't afford the child care. So they're not working. So they've actually knocked that down to a very large number of billions of dollars, that if they were able to have a child in daycare and this person had a job, then that would bring the state money. Because, if you work for a company, they pay employment taxes, and then a person generates their own income, and all this money could come back. So they created this organization or should I say this organization, Early Learning Coalition, was founded. It's not a government organization, it's a charity, but it exists not only on donations, but their slice of the pie from the state of Florida that comes in to them is based on how much money that they collect. If they collect, say, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. If they collect 10 million, then there's gonna be another 60 or, out of a pie of 100%. If they collect 20%, the government's gonna throw in another 70 or 80%. And the Deerfield Beach does contribute that. So much to my amazement, when I came in to the place, they had these placards up all over the place, and they all had different numbers. So they gave me a tour around and they said, look, this is the impact statement. This is what the Early Learning Coalition of Broward County does for your city, Tom, for Deerfield Beach. There's our emblem right there. So in our city through 2023, 2024, child care providers, there's 9 child care providers in the city that were reimbursed for child care. Okay. Now, can any place be a child care center? Well, guess what? They have a vetting process, very robust. In every respect, they check out these early learning care centers because they're not going to pay an early learning care center or put a child in there unless it's, runs down all the zoning codes and the state approvals and all that other stuff. But they actually have a department within this coalition that goes in and observes the classrooms. In fact, they observe the classrooms and the teachers to the effect that they do a grading. Okay. They actually have a class score on the grading. And the grading goes from 0 to 7, with 7 being the best. Anything above 5 is great. In the entire state of Florida, the class scores in Florida were 4.95. In Broward County, it was 5.14. In Deerfield Beach, it was 5.65. We exceeded the state. We exceeded the county. Now, what does that do for us? That qualifies Broward County to get more of the pie of the money that's coming in. Okay. So out of those 9 places that get money, there's 827 children that had their daycare subsidized, which put 452 more people in the workforce because they could drop their kids off and go to work and have a job. And the economic impact brought into our city was $3.5 million. So I got an email and decided to go down there, and you found them another way, right? But they're trying to get the message out. Okay. We need to have them come in. They have a media relations department like what we have. And they would just love to come in here and make sure that, we know about this and that people can have this down. Now, I'll just say one more thing about this, and that's the qualifications. Right now, the qualifications are sitting at a family income of $46,000, which is not a lot of money. In fact, because that's low, almost 100% of the beneficiaries of this child care program are single parents. Okay. But right now on the governor's desk, he's about to sign something that's going to raise that $46,000 to $53,000. And their stats show that that's going to show a better, put more families in. Okay. Not just the single folks. So that's an amazing thing. Typically around the country, people spend 30% of their income for childcare, and this program is going to be capped at 7%. So when they look at their financial thing and they put those kids in the daycare, it's not going to cost them more than 7% of their income. How about that? So this is something that we already are involved in. City manager told me we already donate to this and everything, but we need to do our part, Dan, you and me and all of us, to bring those folks in here to talk to us in several different ways, maybe not just at a commission meeting, but travel around to the boards. But they have a very energized bunch of folks there that want to come out here and speak to us and let our residents know about it. So, isn't it funny that I think one of the best things that I did all week just happened off of an email that I went down there. I was so glad that I did that. I had no idea this existed. And I think a lot of people within the sound of my voice don't know that either, you know? So that's all I've got to say, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. District 2 Vice Mayor, you're on tap. I don't know if the city attorney wants to jump in, probably not, but I will. I would just warn about publicly promoting one agency over another. We have, hundreds of them. And you publicly promote one, you're going to have hundreds beating on your door, and you're
Okay.
going to have hundreds requesting money that we don't have. So just be prepared for those phone calls going forward. At least I know they're going to you and not to me.
Yeah. Can I make one more comment?
Briefly,
Okay.
and I stress briefly.
Okay. My point was, and I take your point and I do take your advice because you've been around here a lot longer than I do. Their point to me is they have the money right now and they want to dole it out, but I get it. It's one of many organizations. So thank you for your advice.
No problem. Vice Mayor Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. On May 14th, a retired firefighter for the city of Deerfield Beach, Bill Thomas, passed away. He was one of our firefighters when Deerfield Beach fire department was growing. He was an integral part of that. And Bill will surely be missed. All the firefighters and the people that knew Bill and his family, and some of his family actually worked for the city of Deerfield Beach, will tell you that he's just an outstanding guy. And he will sorely be missed. And we extend to the Thomas family our condolences and well wishes. I'm very happy to report to the commission that the Packer Rattler enrollment is up. And we're very happy about that. So it looks at this point like we'll have a full complement of teams once we get into the season, which we've been waiting to hear. Commissioner Hudak did steal my thunder about Memorial Day. Thank you, sir. But you forgot to tell the time. Okay. So at 8 a.m. On the 26th, we're going to have a ceremony at the Johnny L. Tigner Center for Memorial Day. It is important to note that Memorial Day is quite different than is Veterans Day. Veterans Day, we acknowledge the people who are serving. Memorial Day is when our people have paid the ultimate and we're memorializing them. So please understand the importance of that. There's a reason why this country is free, which tells you when you're memorializing someone, it isn't free. There's a cost, and the cost ultimately is lives. So please come out on the 26th, 8 a.m. at the Johnny L. Tigner Center and enjoy our ceremony and our acknowledgments to Memorial Day. I too attended the Cuisine of the Islands over at the Braithwaite Center. It was a success, as Commissioner Plout said. It was jam-packed. The city of Deerfield Beach is growing, and there are some wonderful things that is happening, but it could not happen without our staff. The director over there, Mr. Salas, is doing a great job, but overall, we have a great staff, and they're doing some good things. Mayor, you said that the city clerk didn't want to speak at the award for the city clerk office. Well, since she wouldn't speak, I'm going to. We have a great city clerk. Heather Montoya is doing a great job. I mean, anytime that I need something, it's always professionally done. She gets the information or whatever it is. And do you know that everybody in there is out of the same mold. Tremendous job. And Heather, it's okay to say thank you every once in a while. Just like you're always giving, it's okay to receive every once in a while as well. And that's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well deserved, Madam Clerk. You sure didn't want to speak? Okay.
What do you have to say?
I only have a couple of things. Mr. City Manager, I would like to clarify the time for Memorial Day on Monday because my calendar says 9 a.m. and the Vice Mayor said 8 a.m. So I just want to make sure we're giving out the right time.
So there are some ceremonies that begin earlier than that with the American Legion and some wreaths that are being taken from our various cemeteries. The actual ceremony that will begin at Tigner will be at 9 a.m.
Okay.
At 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Next is I likewise attended the park charrette at Mayo Howard Park yesterday. And the audience, the community members that were there, in addition to those that I've heard from not only during the campaign, but after, have overwhelmingly been against a skate park or a skate portion to that particular park, which I know it was a feature that is intended to be added. Unless the Vice Mayor has information or feedback that I'm not aware of, it was pretty solid. And I'll give him the opportunity to speak again if he wants to. So raise your hand, Vice Mayor, if you do. If not, that's okay. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but the feedback that I've been getting has been against that. And so I know we're going in for a grant for that, but I'd put in the grant without that feature because that seems to be the community feedback that we've been having. And in fact, he did raise his hand. So let's, Vice Mayor, if you want to jump in now, and that way I can finish up my other comments that are unrelated to this topic.
Thank you, Mayor. When you say that the community was overwhelmingly against that, you know, I'm going to tell you that there were other meetings where the community was overwhelmingly for it. And, you know, a lot of the kids use skate parks. We don't have one in the city of Deerfield Beach. And it was actually said that a lot of Black kids, in the community wouldn't use it. Well, first of all, that's not true. A lot of Black kids would use it, but it's not just for Black kids. You know, the skate park is something that a lot of the kids do. It gives them something to do. To go to a skate park, gets them off sidewalks, gets them out of the street, puts them in a park where it's safe. And so I can tell you, just as much as you say that the community is against it by some people that showed up, there are people that was for it and urged me to bring that forward. So I'm kind of disappointed that it just was taken out based on the opinion of just a few people, because there are other opinions as well. And so again, it is not a race-based thing, even though this is primarily in a Black community, but you have a lot of kids, including Black kids, that utilize skate parks. In fact, when we were having a meeting at the Johnny McKeithen Park, and this very conversation was going on, and who would skate by? Some Black kids on skateboards. So, I have a different opinion on it. And like I said, there are people in the community that would like to see a skate, this be a part of it. And let me ask you, Mayor, what do they want to see in place of that?
The discussion I've been hearing is a basketball court for sure, and improved fencing on the perimeter, in addition to like a nature or walking path around the entire park itself. But the skate park has not been removed. It was just talk that was brought up. And what I've been hearing, if you've been hearing something different, I think we need to leave it to the staff to, get to the bottom of it, and do what they need to do with respect to the grant. But we're getting different feedback, and I think we just need staff to get to the bottom of it.
Well, one of the things also, Mayor, that I talked about is that it will be a great opportunity in another location to mimic something close to like what we have over at Sullivan Park, a water theme for the kids would be great there, especially in the summer. And that does a lot for our community. Summers down here, as you well know, I'm not telling you anybody anything that they don't know, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Let's give the kids something to do. A water theme would be very, very instrumental in drawing people out to use the park. And I think it would be a great thing. And that's something that I mentioned before when we was having these meetings. And Parks and Rec seemed to embrace that. And the community, I had overwhelming support from different people in the community about having a water theme. Over at Mayo Howard Park as we talk about redoing it. So, I'd like to see that stay a part of it as well as a skateboard theme being incorporated into that park as well.
Okay. There were many suggestions. One of them was a water feature / splash pad for that park, and Parks staff was there taking down all of the comments. So I'm sure they'll huddle up behind the scenes and come up with a plan for that particular part going forward. But thank you for the input, because I'm glad to know that you're hearing something different, so at least Parks can take that into consideration. I do want to mention also this, I believe it's Friday. It's either Thursday or Friday. Let me check my calendar. Sorry, everybody. Sprouts. There's a new Sprouts opening in Deerfield Beach at the intersection of Hillsborough Boulevard and Powerline Road, and it is this.
It's an early bird.
6:30.
It's this Friday. Yes, I had it right the first time. It is this Friday at 6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. before they open officially at 7 o'clock a.m. At the Sprouts out west. So they're having their grand opening in the city. The public is invited to that, and I believe the first 200 people get some kind of goodie bag from Sprouts. I do want to thank staff tonight. I thank my colleagues for being patient with me at the last two meetings. I want to thank staff for being patient with me as well as I grow into this role. And I want staff to also appreciate and thank them for the meetings are run a little bit differently. There's a different flavor to them, especially when it comes to the public comment. So I want to appreciate you interacting with the public, on the fly that we do. I mean, just look to my left, we have administration and legal. We have public safety, we have IT, we have environmental services, we have fire, we have code, we have legal, we have building, we have CRA, we have eyeballs I can't see behind the chair. That may be finance. And then we have police, all here to answer any questions for people that are here and to help us as commissioners be better and get information during the meeting. So thank you all very much. I appreciate what you do, your time and coming out to these meetings. I know they're long, you're away from your families, but it does appreciate and help the meetings go smoother. So thank you for doing that. And I would like to end the meeting this evening with respect to, I think we have to go to, no. There's a hand, Madam Clerk, but I don't see where there's any more public participation unless I missed something. Oh, okay. Thank you. I would like to end the meeting. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for bringing up the passing of Bill Thomas. If we could end the meeting with a 10-second moment of silence for Mr. Thomas and then a motion to adjourn. We'll start the moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you again, Vice Mayor, for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by the Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor?
Aye.